everybody. It's your host, Rob, and we are tonight doing an actual video game roundtable. We are...
What? Those are a thing?
Those are a thing, and we haven't done one in almost a year, so...
But although we did have the Atari thing with John and Bob.
Yeah, that was more of a, interviewing a couple of really awesome developers kind of thing, though. This is one where we get the Bette created background and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
still got it.
Yes, hello. Just waiting for you to respond. Anyway, I wanted to say a couple of things before we really get into the discussion here. For one thing, Kyle, unfortunately, is not with us currently. He may be joining us later. We're not quite sure what happened to him, but hopefully he will be. And the second thing is, and before I say this, I want to just make sure everyone knows this is not a slam on anybody that does this. I am not saying that. I'm just saying myself personally. Dyer and Bette, we will never ask for money directly. No Ko-Fi, no Patreon, no nothing like that. I mean, granted, I could use the money, but I do this out of love for the games. And whatever else we're talking about. So the most I'll ask you to do is buy my books. So if you've done that,
sure.
Great. And honestly, if things get bad enough, then I do have a GoFundMe for my medical needs, which I haven't posted here, but it is up and running. But, don't worry about donating to that unless I specifically requested for donations, which does not happen often. Right now, things are under control with my medical issues. So, again, not a slam on anybody that does this. I just wanted to go ahead and say, we among that other stuff, we don't do charity streams. We don't do any of that kind of thing. There's too much baggage with that kind of thing sometimes. So, anyway, with me as always is Mike, as you heard earlier.
Hi. It's Mike.
And also the man who inspired this roundtable in the first place, Jay. Jay, you there?
Hello?
Okay, there we are.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I unmuted. My bad. But hello.
Yep. So yes, tonight we are doing a roundtable about the Ganbare Goemon games.
Which is maybe one of the more obscure series we've ever tackled on this. But, well, with maybe an asterisk or two to say. Goemon, it is one of Konami's most popular series in Japan.
Yeah,
and nowhere else.
Technically, we're not doing a roundtable. We're doing a roundtable conference.
There's a difference?
Yeah, you see the lettering on the yellow bit there? It's like not the actual Goemon logo. So every so often I might pronounce it as Goemon. Don't mind me. But right there, the one that looks like a really long house.
Oh, yes.
That is stuff that Bette added. We did a translation earlier. And it came back once it was translated back in. And hey, everyone, I believe Kyle is here.
Hello.
Kyle, glad you could make it. We weren't sure for a minute.
Yes. Hey, yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. We just started, so you haven't missed anything.
Good. All right.
So yes, with us tonight is Kyle.
Hello, everybody. Glad I could be here.
So I was just explaining the origin of the roundtable conference that we're doing.
All right.
Yeah, when Bette translated roundtable into Japanese and then retranslated it back into English, it came up as roundtable conference. So I said, That's perfect. We'll do that.
Yeah. Oh.
So, Now, other than Sharon, I'm not sure who's here at the moment. Mike, you let Snarb know about this?
I did, but he's actually been pretty sick the past few days.
Damn.
Oh no.
He might be having to sleep through this one, so
Ah,
sorry.
Yeah, hey, that happens. But I'm sure we'll get other people. Other people.
It feels like there's been some BS going around, disease-wise.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know if it's just the season for that crap or what, but yeah, get better soon, sir.
'Tis the season, I guess.
Do be sickly, fa la la la, goddamn crap.
Now, remember, this is a very light-hearted series, you know. Don't go working too blue on us tonight, Mike.
I'll try effing not to. F of the F.
You can tell I'm basically muzzling him right now.
Or you can also bet.
Exactly.
Yeah. Every time you feel like you want to swear, you can just bleep yourself out with a duck.
I like this idea. I'll try to exercise it when I remember to.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Swear jar.
before we jump into the games themselves, why don't we just discuss the background a little bit more? So, as you can see, I chose Koban Cat for
Giddy.
my avatar. I just love that wide-eyed look on his face.
yeah. It's a good character to pick, honestly. Like, Koban Cat is very adorable.
Yeah, and I didn't know until just today that he actually was a playable character in one of the RPGs for the Famicom.
Yep. Yeah, one of the two Gaiden
wow.
games. I only just now learned that, so I admit I did a good deal of cramming for as much info in the games I wasn't as familiar with today, so I've just got some... For the ones I haven't played, I have some very rudimentary info, but it's better than nothing. I hope.
I've actually played and completed both Gaiden games. They're really solid, fun little games.
Oh shit, very nice. I know at least one of them. Did they both get unofficial translation?
Yeah, they both have fan translations.
Nice.
And they're both
Get it.
complete, too, so you can pretty much, like, play the full game.
Holy crap, I gotta get on those. Thank you for letting me get that.
Hey, if I was
Yeah,
an
no problem.
I
RPG...
want to check that out.
Yeah, this sounds like it'd be right up your alley, Jay.
Thanks.
And they both actually aged pretty decently well for, like, Famicom RPGs. They don't feel too slow or bloated or whatever. Like, they actually have a good pace to them. Like, the menus feel, like, quick. Like, everything actually feels, like, fluid and quick.
Oh,
Nice.
good.
All right, who wants to talk about their avatar next?
I could go.
Go for it.
Of course. So I picked of all the characters, even though like I love the Goemon series, my favorite character is actually Ibi Sumaru. So I decided to go with Ibi Sumaru. I love him. Just look at his little look. Look at his dancing. Just spinning that little ribbon and just like I love that. Like man, I can't give enough credit and praise to the the art staff and like the character designers of the series, like during when at their time at Konami, because like they did such a good job animating the character and having it like do all of its little moves and everything. Like, oh my god, that's such good character design. That's such good animation too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially that sprite came from the fourth game, which is just lush looking.
Oh yeah, very impressive stuff.
Yeah, interesting to note that that most of the main characters have their signature weapon. Goemon has his Kiseru pipe.
Yep.
Sasuke has his kunai. Ye usually has a katana. And Bichumaru almost never uses the same weapon twice. He uses all sorts of crazy shit depending on what the game is.
I like that about him too. He doesn't really have a quote unquote standard weapon. Like, like he'll have a ribbon. He'll use a hula hoop. He'll use a flute. During Legend of Mystical Ninja for the Super Nintendo, he'll use a little hammer. He'll use anything.
Damn.
Very
I also
versatile.
thought of a way to describe Ibi Sumaru. To use Kevin Smith parlance, he's basically Goemon's hetero life mate.
Yeah, pretty much.
They don't really have any relation. They're just two thieves who do shit.
Yes, exactly.
I can hear it now already. It's like, I'm Goemon, and this is my hetero life mate, Ibisumaru.
Exactly. It lends pretty well to itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good. I love that. Oh my god.
Well,
That's
Jay,
great.
since you are the, titular title character himself.
Yes, Goemon himself. Well, nobody ended up picking him, so I thought, well, we got to represent the main guy. Let's go. So
I like that.
let's go with Goemon, or Kid Ying from Legend of Mystical Ninja. How I knew him before I learned.
Such a bizarre character name. I don't understand a lot of Konami for a series based in Japan uses very oddly Chinese sounding names, and it's just Konami, that was such a weird choice.
They probably
Right.
I was thinking they probably figured that this is going to be released in North America, and they
Yeah.
don't.
Oh god.
To quote Hank Hill, so you Chinese or Japanese?
Yeah, pretty much. Unfortunately, it's not the only media to mix up Asian cultures. Fucking,
Yep.
I know Snarv's not here, but if I were to mention the 1997 game Shadow Warrior, which almost seems to deliberately mix up Chinese and Japanese cultural diddly-doos and mythologies, and it's not a very sensitive game, so I won't mention any more about it.
Yeah. Well, Mike, that leaves us with you.
Yeah, I'm Sasuke, the Robo Ninja. He first appeared as actually a boss in the first Super Famicom, or the first Super Famicom / SNES game. He's the primary robot, the best robot that the wise old man of Iga, a recurring character, a robotic inventor, has, and he is reprogrammed to be an ally throughout the rest of the series, and he has an extendable head, and he's a very adorable and I can be sometimes, so I thought he's a very fit for me.
Given how they renamed Goemon and Ibisumaru, I can only wonder exactly what they renamed him.
Thankfully, I don't know if maybe Sasuke is mentioned in the manual, and if anyone knows about Konami's infamous manuals they had in the SNES and the early SNES, the early NES and the early SNES days, I'm mixing up my goddamn words. They were pretty infamous. For some reason, the bosses in Gradius 3 were called mayors in the fucking manual for reasons I'll never know.
Yeah, mayors.
Yeah.
And
for mayor.
on top of that, they didn't even call the Vic Viper the Vic Viper.
Oh shit, what did they call it?
Something like the Modulating Artillery Exalter or something like that. Or MAX for short.
What?
I vaguely remember this crap.
You know what? I think I have the manual handy. Let me see if I can look it up real quick.
Oh, wow. Uh-oh. Wait. Hey, this is Goemon stream. Why are we talking about Gradius? Because it's totally my fault. That's why.
Well,
Konami.
it also...
that's true.
Don't forget, there is a connection.
Yeah, it's Konami.
Besides Konami.
Oh, besides Konami, I was going to say the
good point.
function, but
All right, let's see here.
it's in one of the games anyway.
Gradius 3. Here it is. Oh, on top of that, they actually had subtitled it, even though it never appeared in any packaging, as The Outbreak.
Okay.
Oh,
Weird.
that's weird.
Yeah, right. No, actually, it's right here on the third page in the instruction manual. You now own Gradius 3, The Outbreak for the Super NES.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I
Whoa.
don't freaking remember that. That's some weird.
Neither
manual.
do I.
Yeah, it's right
Wow.
there. And yep, enemy mayors.
Yeah.
Enemy mayors.
Okay, here we go. The people of Gradius see it as their last hope for peace and harmony. They've tapped into the entire Federation reserves to build your $100 zillion starship christened MAX, which stands for Modulated Artillery Exalter.
Otherwise known as the Vic Viper.
Weird.
Anyway,
I'll let that sink in for a second.
well, my God.
And they even called the Warp Rattler, a prototype. We all know it's a Vic Viper. Konami, knock it off.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yep. And the hit list of Rock'em Sock'em weapons.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is good too. The Terror Zones, a carnival of carnage.
What the hell?
What the hell, indeed. Mayors who would never win a popularity contest.
Ah!
Early Konami, ladies and gentlemen. I know they wrote a similarly ridiculous manual for Legend of the Mystical Ninja as we know it, which I am very certain was probably everyone's introduction to the series here.
Yeah.
Maybe, unless you saw one that had 64 games.
And guess what I just opened up?
What's
Oh,
up?
we have it. Sweet.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
Nice.
Have you ever looked into the greasy eyes of a flesh-eating locust or smelled his steamy hot breath? Well, my mystic friend, if you're not able to find the missing ghost princess and return her to the town of Horo Horo, that's the fate you'll face when the dragon beast unleashes his nasty plague.
Oh my. Okay.
And, oh yeah, Kid Ying, the punky little dude with the mop head, is a mystic ninja. Dr. Yang, the guy with the funky stash, is his mentor and keeper of any mystical secrets.
Okay.
Monkey stash. Wow.
So let's see. We'll see if I can find anything else. It's okay. Oh, jeez. The Little Shops of Horo Horo. Thrills and Chills Travel Agency. Sammy Rye's Circus Sideshow. Okay, get this. The picture that accompanies it, that is accompanying it, the caption says, it could get pretty freaky in here. It's a shot of the Ibisumaru fart dance.
Yeah,
That
was freaking moved.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
I knew I wasn't crazy, but like I could never find it in the freaking game.
It's translated in English in this, so it must have survived to one of the last revisions.
Yeah, maybe it's in a prototype that never actually made it to gold or whatever.
Yeah. Then there's Yohamama-san's General Store, the
God.
the Lose-a-Filling Candy Shop, Irv's Charred Cheddar Sushi Joint,
Ugh.
the Fortune Hut. Wow, that's bland. And Irv's Sweatshop. They named a guy Irv.
Irv.
And oh my God,
so
it goes on.
Famous Japanese artisan Irv. I'm sure his contributions are well known in the annals of history next to Masamune and all that.
Yep. Oh, and get this. Here are the weapons that Kid Ying uses. The not-so-peaceful pipe, the extended not-so-peaceful pipe, and the Yokohama Yo-Yo.
Yokohama Yo-Yo.
And here's
That sounds like
Dr.
something from like the Dragon games.
And here's Dr. Yang's standard mystic attack weapons. The pan flute, and you thought Zamfir was the master of it.
Yeah.
I actually remember that.
Yep. Mega flute and party whistle. Okay. And then they got all the powers that you can get and the items. I actually had a CIB copy of this once.
Nice.
Long time
Crazy.
ago. Oh, dear God. We have here the bonus babes. Befriend one of these nice ladies and you'll earn bonus points. On the other hand, if you're not a courteous game player, they can cost you plenty. There's Miss Prissy-san, Ginsu Granny, and Ramona Kimona.
What the fuck?
Jesus Christ.
Ramona Kimona. Jeez.
Yep.
It sounds like something
Wow.
out of a rejected Scott Pilgrim concept.
I remember one point that I saw him referred to somewhere as Yokohama Mama.
Wow.
Jiminy criminy.
And they even name the power-ups, too.
Oh my God.
Like, okay, you know the gold cat you can pick up to increase your life? That's Goldie
Yes.
the cat's meow. Anyway,
Oh my God.
before we
I have
get
an
any...
entire discussion on the instructions.
I'm almost sorry I mentioned this being a thing.
So I tell you what, rather than go into the Super Famicom games, why don't we start off with the original Goemon game?
Yes. Okay, cool.
Mr. Goemon for arcades.
Yes.
And
Weird start to a weird series.
Oh boy. That's it does not hold up well.
Yeah. Konami had quite a few dang good arcade titles in the early 80s. I would not say this is one of their most particularly sterling of them. Also, 1986, it's actually a little later than I remember it being for some reason.
Yeah, I like the art style because that's the only one that actually goes with the traditional Japanese art.
Yeah. I forget the name of it, but yeah, it looks like a Japanese painting from like the 1700s or something.
Right. So, let's see here. Granted, I do not know a whole heck of a lot about the series, so I'm consulting my cheat guide right now.
All right. No problem.
Yeah, I did post a quick note file for us that I just quickly try and note. I give like the full Japanese title, and just a very brief descriptor of what the game is, like what SFC game it is, when it was released, maybe a bit about. Here's the thing for us, Yanks who barely know much Japanese, not even after 30 or so years of osmosis of playing games where Japanese words are mentioned a lot. I'll be honest, the nomenclature for this series is a total nightmare for us to navigate. It's like all these titles that are like 50 letters long and in a language that I know only 0.00001% about. So
Yeah,
I just had to write up a note file for myself to keep in chronological order which ones there were. So, at least this one's only known, the first one's just known as Mr. Goemon, and as far as I know, that's really the only title it's ever been given, but
Just Mr. Goemon.
It gets harder to keep up with.
By the way, the painting style, apparently that's the, I don't know how to pronounce this properly, Ukiyo-E. I can't remember how to pronounce E in Japanese.
Ukiyo-E, or something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
there you go. There we
Yes,
go.
yes.
Right.
I thought it was either that or Sumi-E, but no, Sumi-E is like the heavy ink style, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but it's very rudimentary. It plays like Kung Fu Master, but not quite as good.
Yeah, the controls and physics feel a little stiff.
Yeah.
I don't mind Mr. Goemon. I love its art style, and I think it's really unique as an arcade game. But like of all the Konami arcade games, there are definitely better arcade games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Shellin's Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Time
Oh,
Pilot.
that game, both games are amazing. Both of those games are
And
fantastic.
Gyrus and Scramble and Super Cobra and Tutankhamun and
Well, I guess this is a general Konami stream as much as you want to make it one.
oh no, I was just bringing up arcade games.
That's
Yeah.
Oh, and let's not forget too a game that was released a year earlier than Mr. Goemon. Gradius.
Yes.
That is true. That was. Yeah, it's crazy how Gradius is just such a technical advancement for its time, and then Mr. Goemon is not in so much. Maybe it was made by a B team. I don't know. I wouldn't be too derogatory on it. The series had to start somewhere. It's just this is
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
prototypical to what the series would become. So.
I can tell you I've played worse.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Even by Konami, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyone else have anything to say about Mr. Goemon before we move on?
It's a decent little game, an interesting beginning. Like as much as I could call this kind of mid, I would still rather play this than play I'd play this than like Haunted Castle.
It's buffering on the YouTube.
Really? I'm showing green here.
Okay, it just came back. Oh, it might have been my
Okay.
internet.
No worries.
Hang on 1 second here.
But it seems to come back. I'm just going to refresh. There you go. It's fine.
Pause this for a minute. Sorry, you guys talk for a minute. I gotta
Hey,
take
no
care
problem.
of some stuff here.
Okay, no problem.
I'll be
Give me a second,
listening,
I'm
but
just- Yeah. I'm just gonna close my window. I'll be right back.
No problem.
okay.
Yeah, I was definitely not impressed with that game.
No.
I'll say that much.
Yeah.
All
I'm trying to
right.
think though. There must be worse starts to other series though. Like, what's a truly?
Street Fighter.
Yeah, you know, that's like the
I like
best
how you
example
zoned
ever.
into that.
I can't really offer anything better. That pretty much says
There
it
you
all.
Yeah, that was quite the snipe right there. Street Fighter. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rob's
Street
always
Fighter.
eager to take the Street Fighter series down a peg.
Yeah.
This is true. I cannot tell a lie.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, you gotta be kidding me.
Wait, now
Oh.
what?
Oh, this is. I'm just dealing with a space issue here on my. With my stuff. I'm trying to do some backups at the same time. It's running a little behind at the moment. So
Oh.
Yeah.
don't
I'm
mind
Dr.
me.
Cheeks. And I'm doing my rounds and I'm a little behind.
Alright.
He's fine.
Simpson reference.
Thanks, Bart.
Fucking any chance, any slightest glimpse of a Simpsons reference, I will freaking take it because I'm that person.
This is
You know
true.
I love it.
I think we all speak the universal language of The Simpsons.
Yep.
Oh, they have so many good one-liners, especially in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hang on a second.
I tell you, I'm all caught up with modern Simpsons, and I'm not sure if it was worth it.
Yeah, it's been going on for like almost 40 years at this point, so
Yeah, apparently it's been renewed up to the point that it will actually go up to season 40, and I'm like,
oh my
Jesus
god.
Christ, guys, really?
Ah,
You know what? Technical achievement getting to that level for an animated series, but holy crap.
yeah, no kidding.
It feels more like we're just doing this because we can. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It's really
Yeah.
feeling like we're gonna start losing more cast members where they finally decide to go ahead and kill the show.
Yeah.
Harry Shearer is in his 80s by now, and he
Yeah,
really
no
was going to leave at some point before I think some monetary deal was worked out. He's there forever. Julie Kavner certainly is, and her Marge has been pretty rusty for the past few years.
Yeah.
God bless her. Sorry, like God bless her though. Like just like
Yeah.
man, like she's been going on for like 40 years with that voice. That's incredible.
Absolutely, but
Yeah.
like naturally, she sounds more like Patty and Selma at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Again, not to sound catty, just that's I'm
No, no.
as I sees it.
Yeah, at this point, the show is going to outlast the actors.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe.
You'll never stop the Simpsons, and the fears we got swords for years. Now it sounds like a fucking threat.
Yes, it does.
Oh,
Like Marge becomes a robot and something
Yes.
happens and do do do.
crazy wedding.
That's exactly.
You know, we can always fall back on The Simpsons when we got to take a break for a second.
Of course. I will only follow that up with by saying, I was so gay, but I couldn't tell anyone.
Thanks,
I
Uncle
know
Barry.
that's forever locked in my brain. I just love that I was so gay, but I couldn't tell anyone.
I really kind of wish that was the actual last episode behind the laughter.
This will
It's
be
a
the
good
last
episode.
season.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
This will be the last season. I love that part.
My favorite bit from that whole episode, I think, though, is that The Simpsons started out on a wing and a prayer, but now that wing was on fire, and the prayer had been answered by Satan. All right, I think I solved my problem on this end. So,
Very good.
back to Goemon.
Okay.
Okie dokers.
Hey, we don't exactly have a large audience right now, so I don't think our minor...
Let's just give it some time.
Yeah, they'll come drifting in, I'm sure. Anyway, so I think the next one that came out was the first Famicom game.
Right. I believe so.
I'm going to do my best to pronounce these as we get to them. So, Ganbare Goemon, Karakuri Doshu.
Yep. So,
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. So, with that, I believe, this is the very first ever Famicom Goemon game, which Goemon and Nintendo has a bit of an interesting relationship. I feel like some of the greatest games of the series came out for Nintendo consoles, not to sound biased, but I feel like Nintendo and Goemon have such an interesting history together. And this game itself is also very interesting. I feel like the core of the series was developed with this game.
Absolutely. Kyle, I wouldn't say you're biased for better or worse. Konami certainly did play favorites for their time, but this is really the genesis of the Goemon series as we know it. And like, what exactly would we call it? Like, not isometric exactly, but like 2.5D action platformer. I'm not sure how better to describe it.
I guess not quite top view, but close.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think I've seen it compared to like how like quote unquote belt scroller style beat 'em ups are laid out, like Final Fight and Alien versus Predator and what have you.
True. That's very true.
Oh, well, let's see. Yeah, I owned that for some time, and I never got too far in it, but it was fun.
It is a bit maze-like. Not the stage, not so much the layouts are a bit maze-like, but the way you clear them is also a little weird because like the game is very set in its ways of like the way you have to clear a level is this specific thing. Where for the first game, it's you have to get passes from every town, like every level has a way to get passes, and you have to figure out how to get those passes.
And if I recall correctly, doesn't at the end of every stage doesn't he do a little popping, throwing money thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Spreads the wealth around.
I guess it would be pertinent at this point to mention that the character Goemon himself is very, very liberally based on a actual Japanese figure. At least I think he existed. I forget if it was actually apocryphal or not. But a thief, a legendary thief known as Ishikawa Goemon, who was more or less a Robin Hood-esque figure for his time. Steal from the rich feudal lords. Give to the peasants, which I guess is why he's throwing the money around for every stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I've got cool shit. Everyone have it, except for the rich people.
Everybody that needs money, they need to eat. You know, if you're sick, here's money for medicine. You know, whatever. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's all that noble sort of, relatively noble stuff. Even if he himself can be apparently kind of a hot-headed. Young shonen hero, but that's it. He's mostly got a good heart, even if he can be a bit shouty at times.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
And,
although this game, his personality wasn't really super fully formed yet. He mostly looks frowny and a bit older than he he would in later games. So.
Yeah, which is interesting. They really don't develop that character until a couple of games into the series.
Yeah.
And it looks like the art style is kind of reminiscent of Mr. Goemon.
Right, yes.
A bit more, yes. A bit more so, I would say.
They were released the same year, so.
Right, okay.
And it also got released on the MSX2.
Nice. I've actually played that MSX2 version. It's also pretty fun.
Sweet.
Yeah, that one I haven't played, but I've had trouble getting MSX stuff to run on my PC, so.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Computer emulation, isn't it a wondrous fucking thing?
Yeah.
I'll say.
It's useful.
Very. But there's, I don't know, there's really not much else to say about that one. At least I don't know.
It does get fairly, repetitive, I would say. It does have quite a bit of the series characteristic sort of gameplay elements that you'd see later. Like the money you get can go towards shops that gives you like life ups and armor that can help you take some hits without getting any sort of punishment. There are like these secret staircases that you reveal that have underground bits in them where you can get even more cool stuff. But it's like almost, it's like every stage is like semi non-linear. They you can explore them as much as you want until you get to the end and go on to the next level. I suppose so. There's a little bit of an adventure element because you have to find the 3 passes, as Kyle mentioned, and I think some of the, like at least one of them is like somewhat hidden in every level, so you really do kind of have to dig through to get to the exit.
Keep your eyes peeled, like really, like there's items to help you see hidden stuff too as well, like there's candles, so yeah, like you really do have to keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, I almost want to say there's a very minor Zelda-esque element maybe in that regard. You have to find stuff. A
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, some later games would be a lot more directly Zelda-esque, so that's
I would say before its N64 days, like the most Zelda-esque Goemon game would be Ganbare Goemon 3 for Super Famicom. Not to jump, I'm not jumping ahead, but just like a side note.
Absolutely, that one really was meant to be Zelda from the very offset, I felt.
Yeah.
But like I said, the game itself is a bit repetitive. It is more prototypical to how the future, at least Nintendo games, and I think some of the PlayStation games would play. There aren't even any boss fights, I don't think. It's a little bit, I guess, more arcadey in that sense, and technically it only takes like an hour to beat, like, I guess, all 8 stages, but apparently there are like 8 cycles that you can get through, and like I guess there's like a true ending if you like basically beat the game 8 times, but I ain't freaking doing that, so
yeah, it's ridiculous. 8 times, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's just a bit much. I mean, it's bad enough going through Ghouls and Ghosts twice.
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
8 times? Nah. No, couldn't do it.
Yeah,
that's a bit much.
Yeah.
My skill and patience is not enough.
Yep. Heck, I barely have time to go through any games these days. Although I did make an exception for Rondo of Blood earlier today.
Oh, hell yeah.
Very good deal.
Also Konami.
That's good.
Yep.
That's
I get the feeling we all kind of like Konami a lot here.
I think so.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably a safe bet.
Yes.
Especially with the earlier stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, asterisk, Konami before some certain point. Let's say Konami before 2010. Maybe that's being too generous, but I don't know.
Well, at least as of late, they've been trying to go ahead and bring things back a little bit. First with, hey, Eris, how's it going?
Hey, Eris.
Oh, hey, Eris. Welcome.
Howdy.
So, what with the Haunted Castle revisited on that last Castlevania collection? And let's not forget, we've got Salamander 3 coming.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
should be rad.
Only wanted this for 30 years. Well. But anyway, so yeah. Anyone else have anything to say about the first Famicom game?
I played a little. It was pretty good.
Not too much, Davey.
Definitely a step up from the arcade one, in my personal opinion.
I think we can all get behind that.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yep.
So that moves us to the second Famicom game. Things are definitely more refined. I think that was Ibisumaro's first official appearance.
Yes,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
This sequel is like the Terminator 2 of the franchise, in that like it takes everything what made the original game like good and made it into like made it from like a 6.5 out of 10 to like a 9 out of 10.
Yes, this is really where the series definitely comes into its own. I mean, Goemon 2 FC pretty much almost, I can't really say almost exactly, but feels much more like the blueprint for the direction that the Super Famicom games would go in, and I would almost put this one up next to them. It's just really solid.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so you could see where the beginning of the comedic aspects were really starting to kick in too.
That too, yes. It is a pretty goofy game on the whole. Goemon himself looks a little bit younger. He still looks like the. I think like the Goemon design that would be used for the rest of the series would be in the second Famicom game. So he still looks a little bit more like he did in the older titles, but he also does look a slight bit younger, and like the graphics are overall more colorful, more varied. The maps themselves a bit more elaborate, and like it's funny because structurally it doesn't change too terribly much from the first. There's just overall more variety, I think, and elaboration in the stages. Now there are actual boss fights, and now like you only have to beat the game once for the actual ending, which I do appreciate.
Yeah, we all do.
So that's a big benefit there.
And also, is this the first game that how you pronounce her name?
Yai?
Yes, Yai. Is that this first game she appeared in?
Maybe either this or the first RPG game in the series. Like
It was absolutely. You're correct. She was absolutely in the first RPG. I don't think she showed up here yet, however, unless.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen a screenshot of a girl that looks just like her, except she doesn't have green hair.
Oh yeah, and I like that for the Famicom. The characters' colors were a little opposite. For example, like Edie Sumaru was in like a stark white outfit instead of this blue outfit, and Yai has like black hair instead of green hair, and I always found that interesting.
Maybe it is her then. It has been a while since I have played the second Famicom title, but like, yeah, it's just the first, but a lot better. I could almost say like, you know, the first FC one worth playing for historical value. This one I think is worth playing to the end. So.
Yep.
So who knows about the Konami store in the game?
I do. You can buy Konami games.
I didn't know that.
Do you know what happens if you buy all of them?
What happens?
All the enemy characters turn into Konami characters.
Yes!
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen this. I need to see this. Oh my, that sounds amazing.
I agree.
And here's a few of them. You get Konami Man, Konami Girl. You get the main character from Getsu Fumiden.
Nice.
Nice.
And Penta from Arctic Adventure.
Oh,
That's
good.
so cool. That's so cool. Oh my god.
I love that.
I ever knew this. It's amazing.
That may have actually been the start of the whole character cameo thing that later played into some of the later games.
Good point. Yeah, the later games did have a lot of cameos. It seemed like, yeah, I mean, you could probably tell from the presentation of most of the games, but Goemon, for being one of Konami's bigger series, always felt like they're most deliberately comedic for the most part, and they really just broke the fourth wall repeatedly, and they were happy to cross over several other characters from other games. Like, not to get, I will get ahead of us again, but I know that Simon Belmont actually shows up in the second Super Famicom game, and there is also a hidden level where you get to fight Dracula at the end.
He's also a playable part of your team in the second Goemon RPG game for the Famicom.
Holy shit, are you fucking serious? Oh my god.
That's funny.
I'm dead serious.
Nice.
Raiden 2. Inka no Zaiho. Simon Belmont as a fucking party member. Why have I not played
I
this
think
yet?
I know what RPG Mike is playing next.
Yep.
Well, I need to play the first one first. But,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I really should get to the Gaidens at some point.
They're both really simple, easy to get games, so you'll be able to beat them in no time flat.
Awesome.
Sharon, we're talking about how so many different Konami characters from other games cameo in the Goemon games.
Mm.
Or, in some cases, are apparently playable characters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of them, apparently. But you know,
Holy shit.
Definitely a lot more than I thought.
I just saw.
Pastel. Not sure.
I think Pastel was at least in the second FFC game at some point.
She was. She was.
Okay. Yeah. So Pastel does show up.
Same with Gillian Seed from Snatcher.
I think I remember Super Deformed Gillian. Yes, that does sound familiar.
There's also Super Deformed Sparkster from Rocket Knight Adventures. He's in the Super Famicom second game. He cameos.
Nice. Very nice.
Now, Mike, you were saying something about how this was Konami's most comedic series.
Yeah.
I think Parodius would like a word.
Oops. Yeah, no, you're right. That one. Yeah. I retract my statement.
Hey, but don't forget who did show up as playable characters in the Parodius games.
Yeah, Goemon did, at least on the Super Famicom version of Gokujo Parodius, and one of the levels in Jikyo Shibari Parodius was Goemon themed, and I believe he fought the head of his Super Mech Sentai Mecha Goemon Impact as a boss. So
Also, the Impact boss in that game shoots out little Ibi Sumaru like face bombs.
Nice.
that's adorable.
So, Arash, you're playing the second Super Famicom game?
Either the second Famicom or the Super Famicom one, I suppose. Anyway, I do see Simon here in the... Unfortunately, I don't have too terribly much to say about the two Gaiden RPGs, but did we want to say anything about the second action Goemon FC game? And I hate that I have to be unspecific like this, but, like, again, the nomenclature for the series is a horrible clusterfluff, so I have to work with what I'm given.
Unless Jay or Kyle have anything else to say about that one.
No, I'm good.
I'm good. I mean, I played a little bit of it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm like, I've seen where Legend of Mystical Ninja actually got some of its inspiration with melding some of the ideas of the other games into it. So it was nice to go backwards from what I first started.
And before we take off and talk about the RPGs, who here has played Cowboy Kid for the NES?
I have.
I have a bit. That was actually one that I meant to get to on a really slow day at work, but unfortunately those have been kind of rare lately. So, but yeah, I am aware of that game and how much it liberally borrows from the Goemon titles, the FC Goemon titles and structure.
Yeah, it's the closest we got to getting a Famicom Goemon game here in the U.S.
Yep.
Yeah, was there like any actual like developer, programmer from the Goemon titles that did that game or whatever?
I'm not sure. All I know is that it feels like it is to the Famicom Goemon games what Astrofang is to Rad Racer.
I can get that.
I forget what Astrofang is, but I'll take your word for it.
Oh, I've described Astrofang as Rad Racer in space. But seriously, it plays just like Rad Racer. It looks like Rad Racer to a degree. It even, I mean, you'd swear that whoever was it made, I think it was, I don't remember. But it's like they just took the code for Rad Racer and modified it.
Basically, if it walks like a and talks like a, it must be, or whatever.
Exactly. So I think the same
there
thing
you go.
May have happened with same thing may have happened with Cowboy Kid.
I'm being gratuitous, but yes. I really need to play Cowboy Kid more. It does seem like a really neat title. I almost hate saying hidden gem. That's so cliche nowadays, but it's one that doesn't feel like
it's a fun little game. Nice little distraction. Like it's if you got the game or a way to play the game, like give it a shot. And plus, it's co-op. It's 2-player co-op. So that's one of those one of the best things about the NES is games like that, like 2-player co-op game. You know.
Nice.
So
yeah,
brilliant.
that's true. Very couch potato kind of style. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the most I really did of that was to play Contra.
Nice.
And then get really frustrated when the second player couldn't keep up with me.
Contra is a classic.
Yeah, that's why I don't usually co-op. I would gladly keep up with you. I think I'd have the skills to pay the proverbial bills. God, that sounds so lame. But, coming out of my mouth, anyway.
I was hoping you would rhyme. I'm like, are you going to rhyme? Are you going to rhyme? And then when you start saying, I'm like, yes, he's going to rhyme. Yes!
I hesitated. My bad. Sorry to disappoint.
Come on. Don't be like that. When you're going to rhyme. Come on.
Mike, you're dealing with nearly a 40-year veteran of the Alien Wars. Now, if you think you can keep up with me, you're welcome to try if we can ever set that up.
Good.
I think I can be a decent Lance to your Bill. That sounds romantic, but yeah.
Wow, damn, okay.
Hey, I'm Bill. This is my hetero life mate, Lance.
There you go.
So, who wears the red pants and who wears the blue pants?
Well, let's see.
In this relationship.
Bill wore the blue pants in this relationship.
Nice.
So
we are getting ridiculous. Anyway,
yes. Well, it fits the subject matter.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Good
games with Famicom games or NES games with 2-player co-op.
Shadow of the Ninja.
There you go.
Yes.
That game is. Oh, yes, that game is fantastic.
Definitely. There's also Battletoads, but that is a legendarily bad example. So
unless you're like playing the Japanese version, which is kind of better made for co-op. Like,
you're
in for a bad time.
Yeah, I heard they really smoothed out a good deal of the rough edges. So. Although
the sad thing about the Japanese version of Battletoads is that they don't have that like stupidly catchy pause screen music. That
is lost. Then it is inferior. I say, fie upon thee.
What's the point of the game then? I want. Yeah, exactly.
For shame. Exactly.
I want the catchy pause music. Like, come on.
Well, now I'm glad I sold my copy. But there's plenty of 2-player co-op games on the NES. I mean, obviously most of the brawlers are.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So
anyway, Final Fight unfortunately isn't, but I still like that game a lot. So.
Which one? Mighty Final Fight?
Mighty Final Fight. Yeah.
I don't think Batman Returns is either.
No.
Well, to be fair, like who else could you really be? Because Robin didn't even exist in that.
Yeah.
Game.
Well,
that's kind of a funny thing about that. Like with Batman, Batman Returns, also Konami game. That's kind of the weird thing about the Konami Batman Returns games is that they're full-blown brawlers, but it's like, it's a little weird. This is 1 player only, but it makes sense because like Robin wasn't in the first 2 movies, so like, who would you get as a second player? Like, kind of brings into question. Like, you really can't do 2. Like, there really wasn't a way to really bring in 2-player into this.
You know,
if I may mention Taito's Superman.
I was about to mention
that. Yes, Taito's Superman.
Just like someone else is on the wavelength.
Having someone just like recolor Superman. Like there's your player too. Like, wow, Taito, you did it. I kind of respect that almost.
But Taito had a perfectly good Supergirl they could have used as player too.
Yeah, I know. What the hell? That would have been cool. Superman and Supergirl.
You mean Helen Slater?
Yeah, well, obviously.
I'd like to play sure. Excuse me. I would like to play as Helen Slater in a video game. I'd play it.
Yeah, definitely missed opportunity. I agree.
Yeah, I know.
Although, on the subject of Batman, if Robin had been in the original '89 movie, I have to wonder if they would have kept the line the Joker had to say to Batman.
What's that?
Well, this is according to the original script when Robin still was a character. Because they were going to actually have him in there.
Right, okay.
Shit, really?
And I guess, I don't remember the exact details, but when the Joker first encountered both of them, Nicholson was supposed to quip, "Hey, I like your boyfriend. He's kind of hot."
Wow! Okay, that was maybe for the best that didn't get into the final film.
Classy!
Oh, I guess you're only familiar with the new Batman movies.
Yes, of course. How come Batman doesn't dance anymore? Hello, the Bat to say.
Yes.
And I don't need molded rubber muscles. See this?
All
Pure
pure
West.
West. No, I starts making the dancing noises. Hey, oh.
Oh, okay, kids, just back away quietly. Don't make eye contact.
It was nice meeting you, Mr. West.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So anyway, moving on to the RPGs. Now, I have
Yes.
nothing to say about these. I've never played them because I didn't know about the English patches, and I'm not an RPG guy in the first place.
No, that's understandable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kyle, if there's anything you want to add to this, I think you're
Sure.
pretty much the only one who knows.
If you don't mind, I'll take the lead for these two.
Because
Please
Jay,
do.
Jay hasn't played these yet, have you, Jay?
I played like 5 minutes of the first one. I'm like, oh, this is an RPG. Okay, I'm not going to get too far with this today. Then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, because Mike, you mentioned there was a second one. I'm like, there's a second one. So
Yeah.
I didn't go too far. I will like to try the fan-translated version of it so I can actually enjoy the game.
Yeah, so funny enough, I would say, and speaking of Goemon, with the subject matter that we're talking about tonight, like just overall the Goemon like series and franchise, I'd say we're actually in a really good spot right now because a good majority of the games actually have been fan translated. Like, there are the games that came out over here with Legend of the Mystical Ninja for Super Nintendo, and then the 2 N64 games, the 1 Game Boy game, that all came out over here. There are a pretty good amount of the Japanese exclusive games that have been fan translated. I'd say I think there's literally only at this point like 1 PlayStation game left that's still just all in Japanese. Everything else has been fan translated. But anyways,
Wait, even that god-awful puzzle game?
Yeah, the Ibisu Mario game where you have to get him to walk to stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a big elaborate dislike. It's the rat in the maze type of game where it's just like, oh, lead him, like you gotta keep leading him, like and it's like that's a decent game in itself, but like I don't know, like when I'm craving Goemon, like I really want like a fun adventure game. But
And hey, Brandon,
like,
thanks for showing up.
Hey,
nice.
Brandon, what up?
Welcome aboard. But yeah, the Gaiden games are fun, simple little RPGs. I will say the first game is a tad better than the second, although the second game like looks better on a lot of different aspects. Like the graphics look better, the design looks a lot cleaner and nicer. Like the second game is good, but like there's a couple of parts of the game that just feel really meandering, and I don't know. I feel like maybe the staff was just kind of struggling at some points. Like they were really trying to do something a lot more coherent, but just certain aspects just kind of fall apart. Where the first game is a lot more I would say a ways better developed. Both are rock solid RPGs, and both actually, surprisingly for being 8-bit RPGs, have aged very gracefully. Yeah, and plus there's little gameplay mechanics that help ease the game too into a bit more of a modernity of an RPG. The combat is very simple and easy to get. Your character's statuses are also easy to read too. Your characters in general are easy to get. Like Edie Sumaru is your primary magic user in both games. So like you'll have both games will start off with just Goemon and Edie Sumaru, but their character dynamics work pretty well. Like Goemon is the bruiser character, and yeah, Edie Sumaru is the magic user. And then when other characters start coming into the games, you get more of a more defined party. So yeah, like the two Gaiden games are honestly pretty fun. Ganbare Goemon Gaiden 2 has a lot of really cute and fun cameos. I don't want to spoil everything, but yeah, there's straight up a part of Goemon Gaiden 2 where Simon Belmont joins your party, and like there's a part there's a cutscene that straight up plays like a Castlevania motif, and it's like, oh my god, Konami, you're just giving off all this like fun little fan service. It's so charming. Like it's just
Very nice.
It's ridiculous. Like it's so charming.
Speaking of fan service, if I'm reading my cheat sheet correctly here, there's a little bit at the end of the first Gaiden game.
Yes, there is.
I did see this just today, yes.
Yep. They take the lone female character and strip her down to her underwear.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's just start for yay, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why?
Later games would not degrade her as much, from what I
Yeah,
understand.
they would don't. Later games don't.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, at least. But yeah, so, well, Jay, now that you know about the English translation patches, this could make for your next RPG challenge.
Yeah, so I'll have to get through Ranma first.
I'd like to see what you feel about those games. Like, I'd like to see like a status report if you're interested. Like, give it a shot. See what you think.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Sounds like definitely a challenge. So, there was... Give me 1 second.
All right.
Sorry, just have to respond to
No
something
problem.
real quick.
Take your time.
That's better. Okay. Anyway, before we get into the Super Famicom games, let's
Yes. All right.
talk YY World.
Sure. All right.
Gladly.
Now, I'm actually more familiar with both YY World games than I am with any of the Famicom Goemon games.
Yeah, I can get that. I know that was a lot of your bread and butter, Rob, in your early days of the OPCFG. Because, like,
Indeed,
I make that comment because, like, literally, I was there during the early days of OPCFG. Like, I remember being a 13-year-old and like spending my weekends on that page and just like reading everything and just being addicted.
Very nice.
See, I had no idea my reach was quite that far.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And you can thank Kurt for most of the early stuff, though, because I would just send him stuff and he'd post it because I didn't have a stable internet connection at the time.
No, I get you.
I didn't even have a PC.
No, I get you. Thanks to Kurt, too. You and Kurt, you guys provided so much of my reading material online as, like, a teenager. Just, like...
Same here.
I'll take a bow now. You can't see it, but I'm bowing.
Thank you. I hope you do.
There should be like a sound effect for that or something.
Yeah, I know. Maybe. Oh, hold on. I know a perfect sound effect.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, I was gonna.
Thank you.
There
No, an applause. There you go.
Thank you.
Yes.
But yes, YY World. That was one of the first ever games I emulated.
Ooh, nice.
And that was back with using Nesticle.
Oh man,
Oh,
those
wow.
those were the days. Those were the days.
And if I remember correctly, it was on my father's Windows 98 PC that he got for college.
Ooh. Oh man. Heck yeah.
Wow. That's
Playing it with a
amazing.
keyboard sucked ass.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I am forever thankful that when I got into emulation, I found out and people like showed me like, oh, you can get a like plug-in controller and like play with the controller. I'm like, thank you for showing me that. Now I will forever be happy with playing with emulation because like I can just plug in a controller and I'm just, oh god, this is so good.
Mm-hmm.
This feels so right.
I remember firing up YY World for the first time and going, I heard something about this. I don't remember what, and it's like, oh, you can actually pick stages here. That looks like Castlevania, and that looks, I don't know what that game is, but it looks cool, all the skulls and stuff. And is that the Goonies?
Yes.
And,
you can go to hell, you can go to Transylvania, and you can go to Oregon.
Yeah.
I
Not forget Oregon.
Yeah.
It wasn't
the mystic wildlands of Oregon.
It wasn't until I played that stage when I realized it was the Goonies.
Yeah.
Which, at that point, I'd still only ever seen on the Nintendo Play Joy 10.
I think this and the Lord of the Rings games for like the GameCube and PS2 are like, oh yeah, there's actual several types of video games where you can play as Sean Astin.
That's funny.
Good point.
This is true.
Very good point.
Now, I didn't get very far in YY World. In fact, I never really have. But
It's a tough game.
That was technically my reintroduction to Goemon.
Okay.
I'd played Mystical Ninja back when it first came out.
Nice.
And I know I bought a copy later on, but this, I remember playing or trying to play through most of the Goemon stage, and it's like, this is oddly familiar.
Mhm.
And then I realize it. But I unfortunately never made it to the shooter stages with the Vic Viper and the Twin Bee, so oh well.
Yeah, those are that's like practically the penultimate stage in the first game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it did take quite a bit of effort to get there. Like, I do think that the first YY World is rather interesting structurally, but you kind of have to know where to go and when, and I do think that the level select is a little bit of sort of mean deception, because really you do actually have to go through the levels in a specific order, because you need the abilities of one character to get through a barrier early on in the other. So there is a lot of trial and error attempting to bumble around the stages. That it's nowhere near as free flowing as like a full-blown Metroid game or whatever.
Yeah.
So
if that had come out over here, you'd have kids at school, trading like where to start.
Oh, yeah.
Just like what they did with the Mega Man games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that was. I remember thinking, I got to get this one of these days. I could probably beat it. Spoiler, no, I couldn't.
Like I said, those games are especially the first YY World. Like, first YY World is like really tough.
And it doesn't
really
help.
tough.
Doesn't help too that your character isn't fixed in the center of the screen.
Yeah, that was a weird choice. I think that was just a gameplay like, not glitch, but it was just like a problem that I don't think Konami could just fix. Like, they just that was just an issue for them.
So leave it to our modern ROM hacking community to fix that.
Yeah, thank God for them.
Mm-hmm. And it does make the game a bit more playable now, but you still have the issues that Mike was talking about.
Yeah.
So, therefore, it's not my favorite one out of the two. I love the second one, though.
YY World 2 is such an upgrade. Like, it adds so much just charm and, like, cute, cuddly graphics and just, like, everything about it. Like, I say cute, cuddly graphics because, like, everything is, like, chibi-fied and, like, you get to play as Upa, so, like, come on, that's, like, double the cute. You got chibis, and a baby. Like, that's perfect.
Yeah, even Bill from Contra.
Yeah, exactly, and he's chibi-fied, and it's just like, oh my god. In fact, I have a new hit movie coming out this summer. It's my directorial debut. It's called Two Chibis and a Baby, coming out this summer.
That would actually be pretty adorable.
That usually ends up being the lineup I take whenever I play that.
Yep.
So
I'll go with Lance and Upa and I think Goemon. Either Goemon or I think I'll usually pretty much just go with that character roster.
I usually pick Simon as my third character.
Oh, nice. Simon's good.
Yeah.
Simon is...
Yes, he's got that. Well, obviously with the whip, he's got the long range attack.
Oh yeah, he's a good character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have played Goemon in that a couple of times, but he's not one of my favorites to use.
I think in YY World 2 he like throws his pipe or something like that. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't think he like swings his pipe. I think he like throws it like a boomerang.
Almost like the coins.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to propose that YY World 2 is secretly a parodious game as a platformer.
It certainly has like the colorful and like cute graphics. Like it's like really going for that aesthetic.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. And for the most part, I don't think it's too terribly challenging either. It is relatively accommodating to play. Like, my only express complaint is that the first level is, for some reason, an auto-scroller, and kind of slowly at that. And I wish that weren't the case. It does feel a little bit deceptive, and you worry that the rest of the game might be that slow. Thankfully, it is not. In all the other stages, except for, of course, the shmup stages, naturally, you're allowed to actually go at your own pace. So, a little bit of an odd foot to start off on, but it gets exponentially better after that. So, and it's not like like some game from like 2007 or so where you need to go through some sort of fucking 2-hour tutorial to actually start the actual game.
God.
I'm soapboxing, but I digress.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say, as far as the aesthetic is concerned, it does fit in with several other Konami games released right around the same time. Look at Yume Penguin Monogatari and
Yes.
Moai-kun.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that's also good.
Very nice.
Very cute.
All good stuff.
Totally.
And Jay, you said you had not played the WoW World games because you hadn't heard of them until now.
No, I never even knew they existed until like recently, as of yesterday. I'm like, why world? What? From hearing what you guys are saying, I want to play them now.
Yeah, I feel like I should have recommended these to you a long time ago.
I do also
amongst the other games that you have.
Yeah. Well, if you decide to do like let's see, you say yes to SNES and say yes to Genesis and say fun for Famicom.
Yeah.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah. And believe me, I got plenty more to recommend.
I'll keep them coming. I don't mind.
Oh, they will.
Okay.
Speaking of you, Jay, now I think it is time for your moment in the sun.
Oh no.
Because we have just reached the Super Famicom.
Yes! This is how it's introduced to the series.
Yep. So, Legend of the Mystical Ninja.
Yes. The game that introduced me to Goemon.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm willing to guess, it did most people for this series.
At least those outside of Japan.
Yeah, I was going to say, someone, I don't know why someone at Konami at the time thought, hey, let's release this very Japanese game over in the West. Maybe, I guess, because the SNES was still kind of starting out, and they just wanted to throw out anything that they were able to at the time. But,
I'd be willing to bet that was actually the case. They didn't have any other software ready besides Gradius 3 and Castlevania 4.
Yeah. So it worked out to Goemon's favor there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's true.
Now, I have gotten fairly far in that game, but I've never finished it. I've never finished a single Goemon game in my life.
Okay.
But I know you have, Jay.
Yes, I definitely have finished this. I've streamed this sometime last year. I may do it again soon enough. I have finished the game. I can almost no death run it. I can get to the second last area of the game without dying. I didn't know it was a Goemon game, considering the translated names is Kid Ying and Dr. Yang.
Yeah.
But,
so terrible.
So I always knew them as that until way later on when I first heard about the N64. Well, we'll get there, though. Such an amazing, fun ride. I love the music. The graphics was a nice touch. Very colorful game, too, especially compared to playing like Castlevania 4, which is a little bit more dread to it. I don't know. It was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing that game. I'll play it every year.
Here's a question for you.
Sure.
Have you considered, instead of replaying Mystical Ninja on stream, that instead you play through Goemon in its original form?
The Japanese version of this?
Mm-hmm.
I've been wanting to, actually.
Oh, there you go.
Art show and all.
And
there we go.
And the stripper dance, too.
Yep.
How marketable.
I just happened to flip the manual for Mystical Ninja open again.
Oh, Jesus.
And I just saw something which I have to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You remember when I was talking about the weapons and stuff and how they describe them? Mm-hmm. Well, I just read the first part of it. It says, "Here's to your health and well-being. The following Sinjin items are cut from the Illusion Stone, which is located in the land of the great mystic warrior Okinawa Jones."
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Fucking serious.
What?
Yes, Okinawa
that sounds racist
Jones.
Somehow, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you, Konami USA.
Dr. Jones, Okinawa. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Okie dokie, Dr. Jones, hold on to your potatoes.
What happened? Like, Okinawa Jones. Oh my god.
Okinawa Jones.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
I don't know what they were thinking there.
I don't either, but I do know one thing that Konami Japan was thinking when it came to this game. This,
Yep.
unless I'm mistaken, was the first time they included playable mini games based on some other
Yep.
arcade games.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
Very nice.
I don't know, Gradius.
Yep.
Which I love doing that. Every time I play the game, I want to go to that mini game, pay the $100,
Mhm.
Yep.
You
and
know,
play it.
did any of you see the last Iron Betty video that came out?
I don't think I've seen it. No.
Well, we covered it. Mystical
Okay.
Ninja.
Mhm.
Nice.
And-
Yeah, that's
Alright.
right. I did a few days ago. Very nice.
I think that was the inspiration for me saying, "Hey, should do a Goemon
Mhm.
round table."
Oh.
So here's
there
the
you go.
kicker, though. I so wanted to be able to get to the carnival just so I could play Gradius and make Betty
Yes. It's a funny. It's a funny level. It's a really fun level.
Oh yeah, but unfortunately
Yeah.
that second boss wasted me. So
Oh, yeah, that's right. Alas.
which was
Yeah,
fine. It was running a little long anyway.
Yeah, there are overall 9 levels in Mystical Ninja, and they are structured like the Famicom games, whereas there's like they are for the most part like semi-nonlinear, and you can go through the towns as much as you want as long as the enemies don't mug you too much. But there are also, and this would be the first game that did this, quote-unquote action scenes, which are full-on pure 2D action platformers.
Yep.
Where like that's where the lion's share of the action happens. That's where you fight the bosses. These are more fairly concentrated platforming levels, and although like structurally the controls on the town belt scroller town bits are not that too much different, so it transitions pretty nicely.
Yeah.
But it is it. Yeah, the third level is like the amusement park with all the fun distractions in it, and potentially, like, you could spend all your time there if you want. When you leave the level, like, there's no going back unless you input the password to get there.
Yeah.
So, for better or worse.
And if I recall correctly, in the pardon me, in the original Japanese, that's where the Ibisumaru fart dance takes place.
Yep. It
I
is.
believe so. Yes, that sounds right.
That's where the stripper dance is too.
Yep.
That was actually.
I just want to say I've completed both the English and Japanese version of this game multiple times, so I remember
Very
stuff.
nice.
Nice.
Yep.
I don't recall having seen the stripper game, but
It's not a game; it's just a dance. Like
Oh,
she
another
just
dance.
watch. Yeah, you watch her like, and the spotlights like spin around her, and then like there's a fun little trick at the end. That's I'm not going to spoil, but it's fun.
But
Okay.
I can tell you that when the first copy of Mystical Ninja I bought actually was the Super Famicom game. This is
Nice.
back.
Okay.
This was back in '93, I think. There was actually a game store near us that sold Super Famicom games.
Whoa! Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
In fact, I still own one of them.
Woo! Okay.
That's
See,
cool.
And I actually, this is long before I knew you could actually yank the tabs out of the
Right.
Super NES. So I actually had a guy where I worked, because I worked in a factory at the time,
Yeah. Okay.
actually drilled slots in the back of the cart for me.
Whoa! Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sweet.
But that was the first one. I mean, I rented Mystical Ninja before that. When I played this,
Yeah. All right.
and it's like, I got to the fart dance, and it's just like, what was that? Did that actually just happen?
You watch Ibisumaru dance, and you're like, okay, what's the point of this? And then just fart, and it's like,
You
wow.
basically just saw Worker and Parasite.
Pretty
Yeah.
much,
Sorry,
yeah.
full sentence references.
And then Goemon, after watching it, just like falls over, like bleh, like oh my god.
Yeah, I no longer have that copy. The one I still have is the one that Braunley actually bought that same day.
Oh, kick ass, nice.
Yeah, when he sold all his Super NES stuff a few years later before he went to the Navy, I bought that from him. And it was
Nice.
Assault Suits Vulcan.
Oh, nice. That's a great game too.
Not a bad trade, all things considered.
Oddly enough, I know it's not developed by them, but I know Konami published, I think, the North American version of that game.
Yep, Cybernator.
Yeah, Cybernator. There we go.
Yeah, that's
which
another...
I know that version doesn't have the famous suicide sequence, but still, it's a decent port, all for what it is.
Oh, all they did was just cut that bit out.
Yeah,
along with a couple other minor things.
Yeah, and they got rid of like the icons of the characters, the portraits.
Yep.
Where in the American version it's just text, but in the Japanese version you get like the little character portraits.
Yep.
With their character names.
And I think they also cut out the secret ending too.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I tell you, that's how I first found out about that suicide scene. So when I posted that on the OPCFG years later, it was like no one else has ever mentioned this, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. Because we're expecting, Bromley had played my copy of Cybernator, and he loved it. So when he saw that Vulcan was for sale, he picked it up. So we're back at the apartment playing this, and we get to that part, and when we're expecting to go into the underground tunnel, all of a sudden, the mech just shoots up through the ceiling. We're like, what is happening? And then, he walks dude into the president's office, and dude shoots himself in the head, and it's like, did we just see what we think we just saw?
Yeah, incredibly graphic thing.
Yeah.
Like Super Famicom, you'd think it would still be like a kid's thing, but it's like, wow, okay, just show that on an ending.
Yeah, well, even if you look at the two covers for the game, like for Cybernator, it was a neat piece of artwork, and it showed a whole bunch of soldiers running from a mech breaking through the wall. And actually, what's even funnier is if you look at the cover to the instruction manual, it's got that same mech towering over two figures in front of it, who, if you look really close at, you can tell are the Terminator and RoboCop.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, that's amazing.
But if you look at the Japanese cover for Vulcan, it's very serious, very military, like a World War II illustration with a giant mech.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone was kind of like, this isn't exactly the for kids version, is it?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I guess Nintendo realized, I want to say 1993 was the year that they realized maybe we should try and grow up, because, people who were kids when they were playing the NES are probably, at least in high school now, if not adults. So I remember 93 was when they finally... after the infamous botched port of the first Mortal Kombat, they left MK2 completely uncensored, and that was
that's because money talks.
Yeah,
and also, this is primarily a North American thing, but also, of all the weirdest decisions I've ever seen used in marketing, the North American Nintendo marketing for the Play It Loud era was, commercials featuring songs from the Butthole Surfers. Of all the music choices for your commercial, the fucking Butthole Surfers.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, wow.
Look, Daddy, I'm a surfer. Another fucking Simpsons reference. I'll knock it off if someone tells me to, but I don't think anyone's going to.
But, up until the...
I will never shut up a Simpsons quote, sorry.
You'll never stop the Simpsons, Mike.
Yeah. They got stories for years.
Yep. But, up until the Genesis port of Mortal Kombat outsold the Super NES one, Nintendo was fine with Sega other than seeing this competition. And then they got all pissed off and orchestrated that hit piece on Sega called the 1993 Violence in Video Games Senate hearing.
Yep.
Oh,
I actually didn't... I'm not sure I knew Nintendo was technically kind of sort of behind that. I mean, it makes sense. I just don't know why I didn't put two and two together just now.
It was totally a hit piece on Sega.
Yep.
I guarantee you they provided Lieberman with everything that they tried to use against Sega.
Now that you mention it, this does seem like a move Howard Lincoln totally would have pulled.
Which is funny, because Nintendo would start doing the bullshit Sega did earlier with we're edgy with like I said, the Butthole Surfer songs used in their commercials, and everything else too. Like this stupid edgy commercial of like Yoshi's Island, or like Japanese Yoshi's Island commercials are like super adorable, and it's like the crayon drawings come to life, and then the American commercials like disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the fucking like Mr. Creosote like thing that they did. Yeah. With the guy exploding after eating a lot. Jesus, that was... What were they even thinking with that bullshit? What the hell?
You know, they could have taken a completely cute game like Yoshi's Island, and if they'd done a commercial like, you know, with some, you know, masked character coming in with a machine gun, blowing things away, blood spurting everywhere, and then cut to Yoshi's Island.
For no reason, just Yoshi's Island.
Exactly.
Sort of very Bill Hicks way looking at it, but yeah.
Yeah, but and you remember what I'm pretty sure it was Lincoln who said this at the Senate hearing. He's all like, "Night Trap will not now or ever appear on a Nintendo console ever."
Actually, if I may comment on that.
Exactly. Oh, but we got pretty far off track here with Goemon.
I like how freeform this is, because it's a little hard to talk about the Goemon titles because language barrier. But nonetheless, the first one, I guess technically its Japanese title is Ganbare Goemon Yukihime Kyushutsu Imaki. But we just know as Legend of the Mystical Ninja here.
Yeah, and the subtitles translated to the Rescue of Princess Hime.
And if you look at the background there, I used the image from the title on the title screen of the Japanese one.
Except there you go.
Instead of the Rescue of Princess, whatever her name is, it's Roundtable Conference.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
That's right. You weren't here when we discussed that. But yeah, that was... I wanted to say Roundtable. I brought it up to Betty when she was doing this. And... at one point, she could not get the English round table to fit. So I was like, it's too bad you couldn't do it in Japanese. And she's like, who says I can't? Like, oh, if you can, then by all means. And she
that's thinking with your brain.
Yeah. So she ran round table through Google Translate into Japanese. Got the kanji or whatever, katakana, I'm not sure what it is. Took it and then ran it back through from Japanese to English. And the English translation of what you see there on the screen came up as Round Table Conference.
Nice.
So, hence the name of the stream.
Good.
So, any other thoughts on the Mystical Ninja?
I love this game so much. I literally grew up with this game. This was one of the few games that my family owned for Super Nintendo. Like, we were more of a family that would rent video games than like outright buy them because you know how expensive it was. But like, that was one of the few games we actually owned was this Legend of Zelda, SimCity, and Mario World. And I believe one of my brothers for their birthday got like a hockey video game, like one of the NHL, one of the NHL games.
Yeah. All right, Eris, have a good one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yep. Hope to see you next time.
Yeah. And I want to say that, by all accounts, I gather this is still, even to most players in Japan, this is still one of the best regarded games, so I am at least glad we got this one, if nothing else. It is just a really solid, fun title. It gets pretty goddamn tough in the back half, though.
Yes.
It really stops screwing around at stage 5, and then stage 6 is... Stage 6 does do something pretty mean where you do need to grind up a good deal of cash in order to actually pass into the 2D action sequence, so...
Yes.
That's pretty heinous, but aside from some vicious challenge spikes, it is, like, still one of the best action games on the SNES. Weird as it is, I would heartily recommend it to anyone who's looking for something a little different. So,
and Jay?
Yeah, to go on what Mike was just saying about the later stages and whatnot, a good trick, what I do in this game, as much as I love this game, I grind the money in the first stage.
Yeah,
I bring
same.
it to about Yeah,
Good
bring them
idea.
to around 3,000 or so. Go to the mini game that's there after you beat the boss. There's this little
The
stage
dice
where
game?
I don't do the dice game. I do the other one where you go into it's like a haunted house kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Like
that one. Right.
yeah, the labyrinth.
Nice,
It
yes,
costs 100,
Nice. Okay.
but if you get all the items, you get your $100 back, and you build up lives. So I build up to about 6, and then I am kind of prepped till about stage 9 at the very least.
Okay.
So you can buy your pass in stage 5.
All right.
Stage 9, you have enough money. If you're good enough at the game, you can buy your armor, the book that you need to translate what the king is saying to get further into the game, which is stage 8, I believe. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I do in that game. That's how I get through the game pretty easily enough. You're right, Mike. Though I think stage 5, but that's the lake not the lake one, but that's the pass where you got to get the mountain pass, I believe.
Oh, that's stage 6, I believe. Stage 5 is the ninja house. That's where Sasuke appears.
Yep.
But I think stage 6 is an
easy.
even bigger spike over stage 5, so you're right there. I would say.
Yeah. Stage 5, I wasn't too bad, but there is some traps there. Stage 8 and 9 are, especially 8. I think 8 is atrociously hard for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean,
but beyond that,
I mean, while close it is to the end of the game, if you remember the infamous platform roller coaster bits.
Oh god, that was the very last
yeah,
level. And the castle level. Oh god, that makes me so nervous.
Yeah, even the last level isn't as hard as that stage. Like the penultimate stage is the hardest in my opinion. But I love the game. It's one of my favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. It's probably in my top 10. I just love playing it. Like I said, the music's fantastic. Gameplay is very easy to get into. The stages have enough variety in them. The amusement park alone is worth it because you can play Gradius in there as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Translation is a little off, but hey, here we are. So,
Yeah, I just
highly recommend that one.
I want to stab one aside here. I think I know where everybody is tonight.
What's up?
In an astonishing coincidence that myself and Jay both knew about, Omega Ace is actually streaming The Legend of the Mystical Ninja on his channel right now.
Hey!
Yep.
Oops.
Yeah, in fact, he commented, what was it, Thursday night?
Yeah, during my stream on Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, how we missed a great opportunity to do like a cross streaming / round table thing on Mystical Ninja.
Whoopsie
Yeah, that would have been fantastic. But,
Yeah.
So.
But hey.
Hey, it's awesome though.
Oh yeah. Always good to see more Goemon love.
Hell yeah.
At least,
Definitely.
yeah.
So that
As
said,
the resident Goemon fanatic, I very much agree to that, and I say yes. Like I always love seeing some Goemon attention. Really appreciate that.
yeah, maybe if he's still streaming after this is all over, we might rate him.
Woo! Nice.
That'd be good.
Sounds good, yeah.
So, but moving on to, I like Mystical Ninja. I don't like the RPG kind of aspects to it, but that's
Really?
understandable given it's me. To my understanding, the second game is a lot less heavy on that.
No, the second game is pretty much like Super Mario World, but not. Yeah, it's easy to tell what inspirations Ganbare Goemon 2 on Super Famicom took from. That game is just the Goemon developers loved Mario World. Because that game is so Mario World.
Well, that is one I've been meaning to sink more time into for a while.
Please
but I
do.
never have.
It's a fun as hell game. Honestly, the weird thing is Ganbare Goemon 2 on Super Famicom is a really great beginner's game because it's actually very easy. It's super weird because Legend of Mystical Ninja is really tough, but no, the second game on the Super Famicom is like actually super easy to understand and really easy to beat. Like you'll probably game over a few times, but that's like you're learning the ropes. Like
Right.
yeah, like it's once you understand how to like play the game, game is super easy.
I do like how it actually looks a lot better in the first game.
Oh yeah, the sprite work looks fantastic. Like it's such a big jump in quality, and it's kind of weird because it's like, okay, early Super Nintendo, then like just a few years later in 1993, bam, like upgrade, and it's like whoa, like that sprite work looks excellent.
Well, look to 93, Konami was firing on all cylinders at that point.
Oh yeah,
I mean, just
Konami really got the Super Nintendo hardware.
I mean, think about it. Just not even a year before 2 came out, Konami released Axley.
Yep.
Phenomenal game.
Damn good game.
Yeah, this game was 1993, fairly around the middle of the SNES's lifespan, I suppose. This game, Ganbare Goemon 2, Kiteretsu Shogun McGinnis.
Yep.
Or something like the evil Shogun McGinnis or whatever, who is a... Yeah, the villain of this game, McGinnis, is a white guy who attempts to invade the country, basically, with his army of bunny men.
Yes.
The strange General McGinnis.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's basically a gaijin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think I saw mentioned somewhere that's like something of a riff on the infamous 19th century incident, the gunboat diplomacy, whatever you want to call it, with Commodore Matthew Perry, not the Friends actor R.I.P. That basically said, open the country, stop having it be closed, and that eventually led to like the revolution that caused Tokyo to be born and the Meiji era and whatnot. I'm a little bit of a Japanese history nerd, so I digress. but the second Super Famicom game, I think this is pretty much the basis for like every single Goemon game going forward.
Yes.
Because this one just freaking nailed it so well.
Mm-hmm.
It effectively did change the game into a full-blown 2D platformer. All the action takes place in 2D areas. The 2.5D bits are still there, but that's only going through the towns, and mercifully, you no longer get assaulted in the towns. They're mostly just hubs where you get info and where you can save your game. Now there's a battery backup save instead of having to write down a ridiculous 20-character password. And where you get food and power-up items and whatnot. But the main action takes place in 2D areas, and you are able to choose between the balanced Goemon, the powerful but slow Ebisumaru, and the quick but less powerful Sasuke, who is playable for the first time in this game.
And let's not forget one of the most important introductions this game made.
He is Impacto!
Yes!
Goemon Impact.
Dash.
Yep.
Giant Goemon robot.
Yes.
Or
which this
maybe mecha would be a better term.
Either or, I suppose. The Goemon games are always kind of pretty silly, but this is the first game to just really lean into the fact that, we're just going as crazy as we want. So now Goemon pilots a giant mech, despite the fact this is ostensibly Edo-era Japan, where such technology realistically wouldn't have existed. What the hell, just roll with it.
It wouldn't exist yet. They have stuff like TVs available, so it's like, what era is this?
The sort of weird schizo tech that the series espouses. Just everything about the series, I think, really fully falls into place here. Even Goemon's design is pretty much the one that he'd use for the rest of the games from here on out. There are the impact stages. There's actually Impact usually he's a big part of all the games going forward, but for some games, including this one, you only get to play as him 3 times, but they're all pretty damn cool set pieces where you go through these scrolling areas where you just destroy a lot of buildings like your Trogdor, and then you go into a 3D Punch-Out-esque fight against another giant mecha, which these parts, I want to say, are arguably maybe the hardest parts in the game because they're their own controls that you have to learn, and mechs themselves can actually be pretty aggressive. They all have their own patterns and tricks that you need to practice with. So, I would agree that for the most part, this game, McGinnis, I'll just call it, is a good deal easier than the prior title, but the mech parts can maybe take a little bit of practice. But, there's only 3 of them, so if you suck at them, don't worry, you only have to suffer them for so long.
Plus, there's hidden moves with the impact fights that make it a lot easier, too. And they're easy to figure out. They're not, some big, ridiculous, complicated thing. It's just, if you push, if you do, almost like a Hadouken motion on the D-pad and push a button, you'll shoot a super shot or something like that.
Nice.
Now, Mike, you had to go and mention Shrogdor, didn't you?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Impact was a man. He was a robot man. Maybe he was just a robot, but he was still Impact.
The funny thing is, Impact actually has a mind of his own, despite essentially just being a giant machine. He's kind of like, I guess, a huge robot buddy in a way, and this even factors crazily into the 4th game where I'm jumping the gun, but the premise is he wants to be a dancer, and that's what fuels the premise of the last Super Famicom game. But yes,
and there's also all those other little things you can ride and whatnot.
Yep.
Like the little.
Yeah, that's right. You get to ride in these sumo bots and these those jumping fish bots and rabbit bots on wheels and whatnot. Kind of reminds me of the things that you ride in Golden Axe. That's
the Bizarrians.
Weird comparison. Yes. But this game has quite a lot of action levels. Most of them are fairly short. They're all the areas are laid out on a sort of map that you access levels on. I'm trying to think. Like Kyle mentioned, it is pretty much like Super Mario World at this point in its structure. But hey, got to borrow from anywhere, borrow from the best, and
of course,
better than borrowing from Sonic.
Yeah.
Wait, actually,
I was just gonna say, there you go. You can cue it up.
Anyway.
But, Ganbare Goemon 2 is just a really flipping solid title, and I would arguably agree with Kyle. If for whatever reason you don't gel with the first one, the first SFC game, this one might be more to your liking, and I would say maybe it's the best game in the entire series, or at the very least, absolutely the most pivotal one.
Yeah.
So how about you, Jay? Have you played this one at all?
No, I didn't know much about it until going through the list recently, so I want to try that one for sure.
Hey, there you go.
It sounds very, very interesting. A lot of the newer ones I have not played. I played a little bit of the N64 one. I didn't know how many Goemon games there was on the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom in this case. So yeah, I'm glad to hear more about this particular one and where the actual mech came from. I thought it was in the N64 version first, but I'm wrong. So,
nope. Konami pushing boundaries long before anyone knew they were pushing boundaries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
But that kind of moves us on to the third one, which is a departure.
Keep it, yes.
Third game is a very interesting case. This is very much this game is super Zelda-like. This has so much of Zelda in its blood.
It's like they said, we borrowed from Super Mario World, now we're going to borrow from Link to the Past.
Yes. Literally, because there's time traveling aspects to this game and everything.
Huh.
Yes.
Okay, right up my alley.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
It just gets even wackier from here on out. In fact, one of the villains is apparently Sister Bismaru, who's an evil nun descendant of a Bizumaru who just looks exactly like him, but wearing a nun habit instead, which is a really crazy visual, to say the least.
And lipstick. She wears lipstick.
Yes. Oh, yes, that too. This title, known as Ganbare Goemon 3, Shishi Jirokube no Karakuri Manji Katame. How the hell can I pronounce these?
Yeah, like the mechanical octopus hold of the Lion Elite Guard.
Yeah, that's roughly what it translates into. Something of the such. It's yeah, this one's a little harder to talk about because it structurally it is a lot more Zelda-like, but it beckons like even more adventuring. Whereas the second game was the game before this, McGinnis, let's say, was a lot more actiony and straightforward with its structure. Yep. This one, you do have to do some exploring and like talking to townsfolk and item finding, and that can definitely get tricky to reckon with unless you have a translation handy or at the very least an FAQ. But
I could never get into it myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I am a little bit less into this one than I am the other SFC games as a consequence. But hey, it does still look really damn cool, at least.
Yes.
No one's going to front that the aesthetics are still really on point with this one. And outside of the first RPG, it is the first game where Yae is now playable.
Indeed, that is true.
So you have her now joining Goemon, Bisu, Maru, and Sasuke, and they all have their own. And like in this game, you actually, I believe, can freely switch between them, and they all have their own abilities that they need to use to get through to different areas. The only one that I can remember off the top of my head, because of course I word, is that Yae can transform into a mermaid, shell bra and all. Why would I remember that? Okay, I'll shut up. But yeah, it does. I did actually beat this, although it has been an incredibly long time, and this was before any sort of translation existed, so I did just have to rumble through with an FAQ. I still definitely had fun. It's like there are actually like in prior titles, there are several segments that are complete 2D action platforming, and you don't need a FAQ to get through them. So, like, there are several. I think the action stages themselves are also maybe a little bit slightly more open than how linear they were in the prior title, but like for the most part, you don't need FAQ to get through the actual 2D segments. But the overhead segments where you're Zeldaing through and there's like items to find, and apparently there's like a hidden boss that you can only fight if you get like a certain, like all the items of some sort of collectible thingy or whatever. This one can be a little bit structurally difficult to navigate. So if there's, I would not recommend starting with this one, even if you can read Japanese.
Yeah.
Or have a translation, but it's Lion Guard, as I'll say, is still a pretty rad game for what it is from what I can remember. It's just a little harder to work with than some of the others. So.
Yeah, it is.
You know, on a side note, I realized I forgot to mention something about the second game.
Oh, what's that?
Because I don't know if this carries over into the third game or not, but in the second game, there are still other mini games you can play.
Yep.
And one of those is a recreation of one of Konami's definitely not very well known arcade games in the U.S.
Yeah. That would be 1991's Zexex, or however the hell you pronounce
exactly.
it. Xexex.
Zexex.
Apparently, it was going to be called Aureus at one point.
Yeah, I remember that. That's a bit of a easier name to follow.
Yeah, that could have easily tied it in with the Gradius series, too. Gradius, Aureus. Yeah.
That's a very good point. The us suffix.
But I remember actually playing that for the first time and going, wow, this is really just like a little mini version of the arcade game.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean...
Yeah, that was really cool.
Gradius in the first Super Famicom game came, pretty close to the arcade, too, for what it was. But this used, like, pre-rendered sprites and everything, just like the arcade game did.
Yeah, it was based off of that really neat second level with, like, the big 3D spheres lining the stages and all. And, it was a fairly faithful recreation from what I remember.
No.
I regret to inform you that Lion Guard here, I do not believe has a Konami shooter as a mini game in it, so it is easily the least best of the four. So it's easily the least of the four Super Famicom games because of that.
It doesn't even have Time Pilot, which sucks because Time Pilot is a masterpiece.
Yes, it is.
Alas, yes, very much so. Although Ibisumaru does get to use a hula hoop as a weapon in this one, which is pretty fun.
That is good.
And he does have the ability to actually hold his hoop out and like attach onto posts in the background, which is a pretty neat platforming gimmick. But Lion Guard, going to refer to it as still a good game, but yes, do not start in this one. It takes a bit more effort to get into, let's say.
Yeah. I would certainly not start in that one myself.
Although I would say that structurally, this one provides quite a bit of guidance for the first N64 title, which we did actually get over here, but but not to get to that one just yet because there's a one or two in front of it to discuss. Unless anyone had anyone else to say about GG3 here.
I think 3 is just kind of bleh. Like, I played it all the way through on my stream a couple years ago, and I wasn't that impressed. I found it a little frustrating at times, and honestly, like, this just feels like a precursor to like a much better game.
Yeah, it is. It's ironic because for being the longest and most elaborate of the Super Famicom titles, it is also my least favorite of the four. It is definitely not bad, but it's not as easily pick up and playable as the others.
Yeah.
So.
That's
well, it is what it is.
But, Jay, from the sound of things, you may enjoy it.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely it is definitely worth a look, I will say.
Mm-hmm. You'll just definitely want to play.
I'll take a look at it. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. But
that being said, I do like the first SFC game / SNES game better. I do like the second one better, and I do like the fourth and final one better. Ganbare Goemon Kira Kira Doshu Boko ga Dansa ni Natawake. That is easily the most ridiculous title I think in the entire series, but it roughly translates into the reason I became a dancer, which is Goemon Impact's narrative. And, he wants to be a dancer. And they go to space for some reason. This is indeed the unironic Goemon in space game. It took, let me see, from the beginning. Oh, it took, about 9 years to get here. This game was released in 95, so, call that a shark jump if you want. Thankfully, the series still had a good deal to offer after this one, but that does definitely raise it to a level of ridiculousness that it had not reached before. But hey, I'm all for it getting even crazier, and that does lead to a lot of neat environments and levels in this game. So,
and I will say that Konami at this point, their sprite work was so incredibly detailed in this game. I think the word was just being lush. It looks almost like it could be an early PlayStation game.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah, totally.
So, unfortunately, I've never gotten very far in this one either. But I liked it a lot more than the third game, I can tell you that.
I'll let Kyle go first before I gush.
This game is like way too goddamn hard. I'm sorry. Like, this game is charming. The graphics are gorgeous. Like a 10 out of 10 on the graphics and everything. But this game is way too just goddamn hard. Just wow.
Yeah, I remember I think that's what Jimmy Hoppa said also. If I may, on the side, plug a channel. Oh, geez, what did I call it?
Jimmy Hoppa rules. That guy rules.
Yes. Jimmy Hoppa is like besides HG 101, like the only major source of actual Goemon info that I was able to get on his channel, Region Unlocked. Go look up Region Unlocked, which he now added the Japan. It's now called Region Unlocked Japan, apparently, but like off and on throughout the years, he's been covering like a lot of other games, but he has covered a large chunk of the Goemon titles. In fact, he just a week ago, Jimmy released a video about the sole PS2 game in the franchise, which was going to be released over here via the fairly infamous Working Designs until Well, actually, I'll speak a bit more when, I guess, if we just briefly get to that later. I didn't want to dwell on it too much now, but so shout out to Reach Unlocked. You're awesome, Jimmy. Definitely check out his channel, because that's where I got a fair chunk of the info, whatever info I did for this game. So,
go ahead and drop the link in the chat, Mike.
Yes, gladly. Oh, that links to a specific video. But...
While you're doing that, Jay, what of 4 have you seen?
I just looked up. I haven't played it at all. I did look up a video of it a little bit. The animation on it is definitely fantastic. Looks like a lot of fun. Definitely changes from Part 3, as you can tell with the whole Zelda-esque Part 3 there. I don't know. It looks like a lot of fun, this one. But I'm curious about how challenging, because Kyle said it was really hard. Makes me want to play it more.
I barely made a dent in it myself, so. But, I like how you can actually choose whatever stage you want to go to, because, every character has a stage at first.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was something nice I wanted to mention. Goemon and Bisumaru, Sasuke, and Yae, instead of changing between them as in the prior game, they each have their own maps to deal with, and they get through their own specific set of challenges that specifically revolves around their abilities, which, so if Goemon's is too harsh for you to start, Sasuke's you might gel with a little bit better. I'm sure it depends on which, it has been a while since I played through this one too, and so I couldn't really testify as to its challenge necessarily, except I did actually beat this, but it has been a while, and it has taken some time to do so. I do remember some parts being tricky, like one of Goemon's levels has him being chased by a large robotic genie of some sorts, and you basically have to run over a bunch of hurdles to escape him. That's another catch to this game. The villain, whose name I believe is Seppuku or Suicide something or other, something fucking crazy like that. It's some crazy name or whatever. Seppuku inflicts upon the galaxy the greatest ultimate evil of all, sports.
Yes.
So many stages are themed around all sorts of sports. Like you have to jump on bouncing soccer ball platforms. Sasuke has to fight a bunch of boxing robots, as I remember. There is
one that looks like Guile. It looks like Guile.
Oh yes, I got right. You're right. There's actually stationary Guile bots that keep firing sonic booms. It's surprising Konami was allowed to get away with that, but Street Fighter was just such a cultural influence by that point.
Well,
my favorite I remember. Oh, sorry, was someone going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say this wouldn't be the first time Konami had done something like that.
Probably not. What do you remember?
In one of the Parodius games, you do fight a giant battleship.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's goofy as hell looking, it's very clearly an homage to Stage 3 of R-Type.
Oh yeah, it even looks like it. Yeah, I remember. Only had a lot of crazy moais on it or whatever.
Yep. Exactly.
Yes, I do remember. But yeah, it looks exactly like the warship with the curved thingy at the end, or
the mega battleship, I think they called it.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, one of my favorite things I remember, and this is really crazy. One level that Yae has to go through is phase is a shooting challenge of some sort, except that she's the target, and in the foreground you are menaced. There are crosshairs constantly locking onto her. You're menaced by what looks a lot like the pistol from Doom. Seriously, the hand is purple, but the gun sprite looks very similar.
The hand sprite looks like the Doom Slayer from Doom, and it just makes me wonder. I wonder if there are any Doom fans at Konami. When they weren't developing games, someone was loading up fucking Doom on like DOS or whatever and just playing a couple of quick rounds.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Yeah, I mean, Doom does have something of a Japanese fandom. It is fairly small, but I do recall that there was a Japanese community project, Megawatt, of levels released in like 2016 or whatever, and there's some pretty cool stuff in there.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Oh, I can talk Doom wads all day long, but Rob would probably buzz me out. So
Doom wads, I'm telling you, that sounds like a middle school insult.
You Doom wad?
Wow, get out of here, you lame-o Doom wad or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, well, anyone else have anything to say about this before we move on?
It's a decent game and it's a solid game in concept. And it looks beautiful, but like the actual game itself is just way too hard. I'm sorry.
Yeah, again, I definitely wouldn't start on this one. Definitely, like, I mean, structurally, it does play the action stages themselves do play a fair chunk like GG2s do, but again, like the platforming's harder, some trickier stuff you have to do, and oddly enough, and this is very weird. I am not sure how I feel about this mechanic. Oh, if mechanic's the right word I want, but the major bosses in the game, you do go through some normal boss fights, although I guess they're more mid-bosses. For some strange reason, the big boss fights in this games have you actually go through mini-games instead of, like, fighting the bosses. Like, one of them, you have to do, like, a puzzle title, like some sort of head-to-head puzzle game, like Puyo Puyo or whatever. One of them is like sort of like what do you call it? Track and fields, sort of like long, like robot head-to-head like dash competition or whatever. One of them is hard to do without actually knowing Japanese, but you need to identify like images that appear really briefly, and you need to get it in a certain amount of time. Very weird. I think I would have preferred more conventional boss fights, to be honest. Although I will grant that the one that Goemon has to face, which can best be described as head-to-head Bungie extreme sword catching. I don't know how better to put it. But it is conceptually pretty cool. It is also probably the most difficult game of them all, and the final boss is essentially an even harder take on that, which took quite a few tries and a lot of button mashing to ultimately win. So the angle was kind of weird for the bosses, but it was the only game to do this, so I can forgive some experimentation. Dancer, as I'm going to call it, is a really awesome title. I did have a lot of fun with it, but it is also not the most accessible title. And while it doesn't require nearly as much knowledge of Japanese or an FAQ as the third game does, there are a few parts where you might get stuck if you aren't sure what to do text-wise, so an FAQ still is advised.
Just a reminder to folks out there, if you want to play any of these, now, like, literally, like, just about all of the games that we're talking about have fan translations out there. They're ROM translations, so you can play these in English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of effort over the years. Goemon does have a small but dedicated fandom, and I appreciate that.
Yep.
I'm no fan of unconventional boss fights, so I can tell you that.
Do you have a specific example?
Well, let's see. You remember Yonoid?
Oh, man.
Oh, those fucking, like... What do you call them? There's a name for that. It's like, take this many and don't take the last one. That bullshit. Yeah.
And in the original Japanese version, where there's no Noi, but instead you got that licensed anime ninja.
Yeah, Masked Ninja Hanamaru, whatever it was.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing there, except it's even harder. Because you're not dealing with pizzas. You're doing something else entirely.
Oh, Jiminy.
The, what's that one? Wagyan Land by Namco. That's another one.
Yeah.
But that I can understand more because they're kind of considered more games for younger children to learn, their language skills.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So, but no, in Yonoid and Hanamaru, that's just like, no, I'd rather just fight a boss.
Yeah,
I remember there was this one Brawl in the Family comic where King DDD tried to lump Kirby with a mallet, but like they were made out of Kirby's epic yarn, and like the mallet just went squeak. So then King DDD just annoyedly played chess with Kirby instead. And like, yeah, so it's like that would be funny if like you had to play like chess or at least checkers with like a boss or whatever to beat it. But I agree with Rob. 999 times out of 1,000, I would prefer an actual fight. So
Same.
That was the weird thing that Dancer did. Again, I'm glad it's the only game that did it. This one would more be experimental. That's probably like the biggest complaint I have about it. Otherwise, I do like it quite a lot, and I do like the fact that it's space. Yep. It is a weird one, and also one of the trickier ones to get into, but I still like it quite a bit. So,
all right, so we got to touch on the least known 5th Super Famicom game.
Do we have to?
I can't stand that game, but we got to mention it at least briefly.
I will admit I've never even touched this one, so
I played it. It's all right. It's fine.
If you like that kind of game,
it's fine.
If you like that kind of puzzle game, yes, it is a puzzle game. And Mike, what's the title of that one?
Oh boy! All right, I got it written on my thing. Okay, Soriyuki Ebisumaru Karakuri Meiro Kita Goemon no Naso.
So let's.
How do I do these?
I don't know. Let's back up a little bit here. Has anyone ever played the old Konami arcade game Locomotion?
AKA Gatang Gotong. I have, and I'm terrible at it.
There was also
Locomotion.
There was also a Genesis version called Junction.
That's right. Okay. That's right. There's a title by the name of Time Ball on the Time Ball, aka Blodia, on the TurboGrafx 16. Yes. That's also kind of like this. It's basically like real-time Pipe Dream, and
yeah.
No, wait. Actually, Pipe Dream was real. No, well, fuck.
No, it's more like a sliding puzzle, except that you have to keep the stuff moving and not fall off the end of the map or whatever.
Unfortunately, I hate sliding puzzles a lot, even when I'm not forced to try and slide them in like 10 seconds. So, funny enough, Gatang Gatong is actually on the same Konami Game Boy collection that the first Goemon Game Boy game is on. I didn't mention that one. I played it recently. It's not bad. It's like a somewhat less... It's a bit like the second Famicom game. Maybe a bit less colorful and whatnot, but yeah, pretty good from what I played of it. I'll get farther into it, I suppose, but I don't much to say about that. There were several games on the Game Boy, but I unfortunately can't say very much about them.
But anyway, this Ibisumaru puzzle game is just, if you like that kind of thing, you'll probably enjoy it. But the controls are a bit slippery, I think. It's just, it doesn't control as well as it should. And that might be because of the perspective, because it's kind of an angled 3/4 degree perspective, not flat overhead like Locomotion was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and some isometric horse butt. So
yeah, and I got rid of that game real quick. I found a copy at a local store for like $5. I didn't know what it was, so I picked it up, got it home, played it, and was like, "Oh, well then, no, thank you." And out it went.
Well, at least it was cheap, right? Maybe there was a reason for that, but hey.
Yeah, but all right. So therefore, we've talked about it. We can move on. But I want to take a poll first here.
Sure.
All right. I know that at least 2 people here have played the N64 games.
Yes.
Yep.
Jay, are
a little bit of the. I played a little. I don't know which one it was, but it was a little bit, very little, and that's where I noticed the whole mech thing in the first place. But yeah.
I think I tried one once for about a couple of minutes. But
yeah.
So, but at least, you know, most of the round table participants know about the N64 games.
Yep.
Now, after that, things get really fuzzy, and it is getting late. So, I propose we just cover the N64 games over the next 20 minutes or so, and then
Sure. Yeah.
call it a night.
No. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm up for
Sure.
that because the series. I mean, I could briefly mention the ones afterward, but I promise I'll be super brief with them.
Yeah,
Well,
and there are a lot of games in the Goemon franchise, so like
Yes,
I didn't
there
know how long you wanted to cover all of this for. So like no, like yeah, cool. I'm all right with this.
Became a little more of a
Yeah.
daunting task when we realized how many games there were and how little knowledge we had of so many of them.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah,
20,
I did not know.
only 20, and like we only got like a 10th or a 5th, if even that, of them in the West officially.
Yes.
So
Yes.
So,
Once again, thanks to the daunting, not daunting, I'm sorry. Thanks to the, ever so great community, the fan community of Goemon fans, we now have a lot of these games now finally playable in full English. So, folks, if you're out there and you're watching us do this roundtable, if you're interested, go play these games. You can get them. You can get the fan translations. They should be all ready to go. Just go to where you get your games, whatever way you get them, and try them out. I hope this sparks your curiosity. I hope you give something new a shot. Like
yeah.
that's what I hope for the most out of anything tonight with this roundtable. I just hope
I certainly will be.
people
Yes.
There you go.
play some new play some new games. See if you find a new favorite video game. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Goemon doesn't usually get brought up in the same sentence as Castlevania, Contra, Gradius,
totally.
or Metal Gear, but
Yeah.
it is, as I'd say, arguably as prominent a series up next to them. It's just a shame that a lot of
Especially-
the knowledge is beyond us Yanks, but
especially for the people who are behind these, like all these said series, like all the people who get like the fame and attention. Like I understand for Metal Gear and a lot of that. Of course, Hideo Kojima, he's a damn great game developer. He's made some amazing video games, and like I totally understand and I agree and I concur that yes, he is a great developer, and I think he deserves his fame. And with Castlevania, there's a whole bunch of great names from the development of that series, like the people who created the first Castlevania on the NES, and people like Koji Igarashi. And like, yes, I once again I concur and agree that like those people deserve their fame and attention. But like, whenever I see Goemon, like no one ever brings up the important people behind that franchise, and it's like, the people that made the Goemon games, they're still in game development and they're making kick-ass games, and it makes me sad that I feel like people never seem to bring it up. Like, unless I'm looking at something from like Hardcore Gaming 101, some people who are in this roundtable who have contributed to that site, like. Yeah, like no one ever brings up, and it breaks my heart. Like Atsunobu Ebisu, who helped direct and create some of the best Goemon games in that franchise, now is the CEO of Goodfeel and has made a ton of kick-ass games for that company too. So, yeah, sorry, I wanted to add in that little tangent.
No, nothing wrong with
That's fair. Yeah, and he's the guy who Mabisu Maru is named after. He's
pretty much. And if you've seen any pictures of the guy, like they're not hard to find. Google him or whatever internet search engine you use. Search his name, find his picture. Yeah, he does actually look like Ibisu Maru.
yeah, basically like Master Takahashi / Master Higgins from the Adventure Island series.
Like he even
based on
has
Takashi Meijin. So.
yes. He even has his like kind of like trademark Ibisu Maru's like trademark kind of like curly eyes, like the way his eyes curl, like he kind of has that, and I'm like, oh my god, he does look like Ibisu Maru. The guy could pull off some sick cosplay.
Nice.
A couple of asides here, briefly. I have now seen that some of the characters from Goemon have come up on Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which should be no surprise.
Yes!
Those are also by Konami.
I love that.
Yep.
I love that that's a thing officially in Yu-Gi-Oh lore. Like,
Yeah.
Nice.
They renamed Goemon.
I believe so. I don't remember what his name is in the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. My apologies. I am very dumb with Yu-Gi-Oh.
Same, no worries.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the anime and read some of the manga, but like very, very little of it.
They call him Goi Goi, the Gallant Ninja.
That's better than Kid Ying. I'll give it
Yeah,
that.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like that a lot.
And then there's Sasuke Samurai number 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
That makes sense.
And then
Yeah.
Lady Ninja Ye looking appropriately sexed up.
Yeah.
Jiminy
Of course.
Christmas, of course.
Now, another
What can
fun
you
factoid. Did you know there was a board game in Japan?
I think
I
I remember hearing
heard.
about this. I think Jimmy Hoffa talked about it too.
Yeah, I have heard about this, and it looks fun. Like it looks very complex too. Like I'm really impressed. Konami really like thought of everything with this like board game.
Yep. And then we have something Jacob probably fills in a little bit more about. The anime.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yep.
Don't have much to say, to be perfectly honest with you. All I can tell you is that I think there's like 26 episodes or something to that
Yeah.
effect. And I think there's an OVA as well.
Yeah. It's a very basic, like, fun little kids anime. Like, if you like,
Yeah.
I would like if you like people who are the same age as us or maybe a little older or whatever. If you're interested in going on, it's cute, but honestly, like, if you have younger family members, maybe introduce them to the anime. Like, this would be perfect for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very kid style.
Oh yeah.
In the same vein as like Pokemon or something. To
Yeah.
that effect. But yeah, like I couldn't get into it very much. It was very, very repetitive. But I guess for a kids show makes more sense to it.
There is
Basically,
sorry,
Go ahead.
I just want to add in. There is one image from that anime that's burned into my brain and into my retinas, and that's Ibisumaru dressed as Santa Claus.
Especially
that's
if you do it anywhere else. I'll be done.
Yes, that's perfect. Like,
I don't think I got to that episode. But basically, all I remember from the anime is that the kids in that anime needed help, and Goemon came from like what is it? The show or different
the
dimension?
video game. The video
Yeah,
game.
video game, and came out into the real world, so to speak, to help them out.
It's a
That's
reverse
pretty
isekai.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
Oh dear. Oh
Is
dear.
that was also a thing like in the 90s and 80s that they'd occasionally do, which was like the weirdest thing to me because it made me feel like sad because it's like, why doesn't that happen in my life? I want like my video game heroes to come out of the video game and be best friends with me. Like, why can't that happen?
Don't forget, Kyle. There is a downside to this. I quote you the Worlds of Power book, Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest.
Oh God!
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the main character who's so annoying and like his name is like Tim and he likes chocolate and it's like, oh my God, I
Yes.
hate this.
Shut up, Timmy.
Exactly. So be careful what you wish for. You just might
Yes,
get it.
true. Yes. Okay, my apologies. I take everything I said back.
Yeah, you don't want to be sitting there in the boys' room at school and Simon's in there with you, and then some heavy metal guy comes in. He's like, "Dude, aren't you with Metallica or something like that?" "No, I'm from Castlevania." "Oh man, great group, got all your CDs." Anyway.
Christ.
I know what actually Castlevania does kind of sound like the name of a band.
Kind of does, yeah.
You know,
It could be like one of those like German power metal bands
Yes.
or whatever.
We are
Okay.
Castlevania.
I gotta throw something in here.
But please do.
When I was in high school, or after I played Splatterhouse for the first time,
Okay.
I'd recorded most of the soundtrack using the sound test onto a cassette
Ooh.
labeled as
Nice.
Splatterhouse. Bromley had the idea to show this tape off at school to some of the other guys we knew and claim it was a death metal band.
Yeah. Nice.
And they fell for it.
Very nice. Very
That's
nice.
great.
That's great. I love that.
Yep. So, we got about 10 minutes. You want to go ahead and touch on the N64 games? Or just,
All right.
Sure.
yeah, go ahead. I will listen, because I know nothing about them.
Okay. All right, well, I'll go first. So, the N64 games that we got in North America are Legend of the Mystical Ninja starring Goemon and Goemon's Great Adventure. I love these games so very much, especially starring Goemon. Probably one of my favorite video games ever made. Like, just straight up. Like, if I had like a top 10 video games of all time, this would be on that list. I love this game so much. In fact, I think I actually love it more than either Zelda game for the N64. And I do love those Zelda games. I think Mystical Ninja starring Goemon has so much charm, and the graphics are so cute and charming and like pretty, and like just like the gameplay is fun. The characters are really fun too. I love getting all the characters and seeing how they play. Like, I love this big open world aspect of the game itself of like, you really get to explore all over Japan. I love that. Like, this game is just so relentlessly charming. It's so damn good.
Yeah, I actually remember beating it after during a rental years ago.
Oh, nice.
I feel bad that I didn't actually pick up the game full time, but that I could beat it during rental just meant I was just really sucked into this one. And that asshole who thinks that Ocarina of Time is actually one of the most overrated games ever made, I gotta say, I admit I do like Goemon more here, and I know I'm going to get 30 looks for that, but
I hope you're not referring to me, Mike. Honestly, I didn't play enough of Ocarina to go ahead and label it overrated or not.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's totally fair. I'm just.
I actually don't think I've ever seen Rob ever comment on those games, like, ever. So
You talking about?
He swore off the N64 after he hated Super Mario 64.
Right, okay.
No, that's not entirely true. There's a few games I do like.
Okay.
F-Zero X, right?
Yes, F-Zero X.
Oh, F-Zero
It's like
X.
the only
amazing
one,
game.
but still a really good one.
F-Zero X is amazing.
And
It's
admittedly, I like
friggin'
Star
cool.
Fox 64 and Mario Kart 64 better than their Super NES counterparts.
Yeah, those are both great games too. Especially
They
Star
are great
Fox.
games.
I totally agree. Yeah, no, I played a huge shitload of Star Fox 64 trying to get all the damn medals, which I did eventually, but it took a lot of effort. Fuck you, Sector Z. But yes,
It's terrible. Anyway.
can't let you do that stuff, Fox. But yeah, no, I'm with Kyle. Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, really fantastic title. It feels like it's a more refined and fully realized, or at least easier, rendition to play of the third Super Famicom game. It structurally borrows from that, but
it's not just a coincidence. Both were directed by the same man, Etsunobu Ebisu. So
Makes a lot of
yes,
sense.
this game really feels like his attempt at looking back at Ganbare Goemon 3 and just being like, okay, what can I how can I upgrade this? And really taking the N64's resources for a ride. Like, he did it in every way possible. Like, he upgraded it in literally every way possible, and it works so well, and it's so charming. And honestly, here's the thing. I'm actually happy this game came out before Ocarina of Time, because,
me too.
Here's the thing. If it would have came out after, I'd be too afraid that Konami would try too hard to, base the design of, Goemon 64 off of Ocarina of Time. I'm so happy that this came out before it, so it could just be a lot more original.
They wouldn't have felt the need to compete.
Yeah. They don't have Z-targeting or anything like that. A lot of games afterwards that, and I love Z-targeting. It's a damn good gameplay concept for a 3D game. But I love that Goemon 64. I love that it came out when it did come out. It wasn't trying to be inspired off anything else. It's its own just cute and charming and fun, creative little 3D game. I love the Zelda 64 games. I think they're both excellent, damn great games. But man, I just love Mystical Ninja starring Goemon with all my heart. Easily in my top 10 video games of all time. Such a great game, but that's my piece on it.
So here's a better question then.
Mm-hmm.
What's better, Mystical Ninja starring Goemon or Tomb Raider Vania?
Huh.
Is that even a serious question, man? I mean, I do actually like Castlevania 64 and Legacy of Darkness more than the average person does. I really like how experimental they are, Kyle.
Honestly,
with me on this? Yes.
The longest time I was afraid to admit I liked those Castlevania 64 games because I'm like, man, nobody likes those games. Holy crap.
Now a lot of people, I think, have come around on them nowadays. Or at least I'm seeing a lot more love with them because, like, the crazy shit they did. Like, you know, the Treacherous Merchant, the Skeleton Bikers, the fact that it has actual fucking vampires in it, and they're ugly, creepy vampires, which is awesome. But
and also, like, it's Castlevania in like 3D. Like, what's that gonna play like? Like, I love that they just took a stab with it. Like, so what would Castlevania in 3D play like, or like, how do we approach this? And they took a stab at it, and I honestly, failure or no failure, I commend the hell out of them for doing so. Instead of just being like, no, we'll just stay in the sandbox. Like, no, I love that they actually tried to do something with like Castlevania, but in 3D.
Yeah, that actually was a partially serious question, but I
get you.
I gotta say this much: I've actually reevaluated those games. I've reevaluated those games, and what I can say, and this is a very positive thing, is that they're both better than anything Lords of Shadow ever spewed out.
I was going to say, what do you think about that game that you want to keep throwing into a blender, sir?
You don't like Devil May Cry / God of Warvania?
No, not in the slightest.
I am almost of the position that I don't think those are really Castlevania at all, and that sounds like a prideful fan thing to say, but God, I hate a lot aesthetically. I hate a lot about the 7th generation of video games, or the Xbox 360 days. Thank you, Kyle. I'm glad I'm getting so many more people on my side about this.
Honestly, Mike, thank you for saying this, because I kind of had a bit of a turn-off period of, like, I still played video games in that era, but I was, like, super picky. I was super, like, choosy, like, cherry-picking in that generation.
Oh, you're not kidding there.
Yeah, like, for all the, like, dumb, like, Sonic ripoff mascots and whatnot of the 90s, I would have chosen those than, like, the 7th gen having all its, like, angry, white, shaved head, growly, personality-less ass action hero men and whatnot, and...
You know, we can make fun of the Sonic, all the quote-unquote Sonic clones and everything, but you know what we got out of that era? We got fucking Rocket Knight Adventures. We got Socket. Like, we got, like, actual good games. Yeah. We got actual good games from that era.
Totally.
As far as the 7th gen is concerned, I myself got very, 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 not to use the word picky, but I really was, because I wanted nothing to do with the majority of what was out there. But
same.
I did too. The fact that I was in college from 2007 to 2011, which was when that generation was in full swing, I'm not sure if I would have quit video games forever, but like it probably worked to my advantage that just not as many games were appealing to me at the time, because it wasn't taking away from my studies as much. Like all I was really playing was like the Yakuza games at that point.
Yeah, which. Truth be told, I would have never upgraded past the PS2 if it wasn't for one game in particular that required me to upgrade.
Of course, Splatterhouse, right?
You're damn right.
Yeah, Splatterhouse, of course.
And you did at least find El Shaddai to like afterwards.
Oh my god, yes, El Shaddai is so great.
That game's just a trip, and I love it. But
it all comes back to Splatterhouse, and that makes my heart very warm and warm with nostalgia, because like I've said before, I grew up reading like everything Rob ever posted on OPCFG as a teenager. So like, of course, it coming back to Splatterhouse is like, yes.
Keep in mind too, I have a bit of a personal connection to Splatterhouse 2010.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you were consulted, for God's sakes. Like you were a part of the history of it, and that's amazing. Like,
yep.
Holy crap.
Even if they got my last name wrong.
Yeah. God damn it.
But hey, it's close enough, and it's better.
In fact, sorry, I will Rob to that point of your last name being misspelled. I say this.
Well, it could have been worse. There have been worse misspellings of my last name. At least they went with a fairly cool one.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be the Stang man. Mustangs, P-51 Mustangs, even Mustang the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actual horse that it's named off of.
After all, they could have totally fucked up and called me Strange Man in the credits.
Strange.
That would have been much worse. I agree.
I've been hearing that since kindergarten. I'm pretty, it rolls off my back these days, but if it had actually been there in print for the remainder of time, God.
Strange man, he's a strange man.
It's not, that's not wrong, though.
Yeah. So not to diverge, but just to kind of go with our kind of final thoughts of the series and the N64 games. To follow up my thoughts on starring, I'll just simply subname it starring Goemon. Goemon's Great Adventure is a bit of a different game. So where Mystical Ninja starring Goemon feels like a massive reproduction of Ganbare Goemon 3, the game that we never got. Goemon's Great Adventure is sort of a reattempt at Ganbare Goemon 2, where for Super Famicom, where Super Famicom Ganbare Goemon 2 is actually pretty easy and beginner friendly. Goemon's Great Adventure is really tough.
It is.
I've beaten the game 3 times, and it's still I still get my ass kicked. It's probably some of the sharpest platforming on the N64. If you have any skills in platforming, use that for this game. It's this game is so tough. I'm so happy that they brought it over here. I remember seeing the magazine articles, ads for this, and I was like, oh, there's a new one! And, I remember, phoning all the video stores. I'm like, do you guys have this game? Oh, God. Because, this is pre the beginning of the internet, so, I'm, calling all the video stores, do you guys have this game? Do you guys have this game? But, Goemon's Great Adventure is such a rock-solid, excellent N64 game. And, honestly, it's worth picking up for anybody, especially, once again, if you have friends around, because this game has 2-player co-op, and if you beat the game, this game has 4-player co-op.
Oh, wow. I forgot that could be unlocked with that. That's fucking crazy.
Yep. Huh.
Very nice.
Wow.
Goemon's great. Well, I would say that I do like the first N64 game a bit more.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Goemon's Great Adventure, still a really goddamn solid title, and Kyle said, it does take quite a few pages from McGinnis's book, as it were, although it's now 2.5D, but this is still a really freaking nice looking game, polygons or no, and the somewhat occasional 3D bends do allow it to do some pretty neat perspective tricks, but I do have to agree, while I don't recall the difficulty of the last Famicom game, I do recall being kind of a knife in the ribs. Early on, there's this flaming castle level that I remember was already a pretty rough difficulty.
That's a tough level, and there's death pits in a few parts of the level, so you got to be really careful when you play.
And we're not even out of the first world by the time we get to that one. There are 5 worlds total, I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Each one, of course, capped off with a boss fight and then a mech fight, which they're more elaborate in this game, and I remember them being pretty tough. But
they're a lot more amped up. So, if you loved the impact fights from Mystical Ninja, they're back, and they're beefier than ever. They are amped up.
Yeah, there's actually more 3D movement that you have to engage with, and also you're actually piloting 2 Impacts at the same time. Impact now has himself a girlfriend, and you keep switching perspective between them, which you have to do in order to get around to the boss's weak spots, which it's really highly involved, but it is very cool once you know what you're doing. But GGA, fantastic freaking game, and I'm glad that I did eventually pick it up. Both of the N64 titles are just really so good with this series, and unfortunately, like, over here, it was pretty much the last that we got. And it also felt like the series, even in Japan, would kind of run out of steam after these ones, but it would go on for a bit of a while.
On the PlayStation.
Yep.
Yeah, there were, I believe, like 3 or 4 PlayStation games. Like, some of them also played a bit like GG2 and GG3. There's this, I think the untranslated one that Kyle mentioned has not been translated because it's apparently one of the worst ones, where it's like, it's a lot more on like 3D platforming and like, really rough 3D platforming of the era and all that.
That's not necessarily the case. The ones that are still not translated is, there's a couple of Game Boy Color games that are flat out RPGs that have not been translated. There is a PlayStation game that's still not translated, and it's a bit of a weird game. It's Ganbare Goemon, but it's like, it plays like a beat 'em up. It's super weird. And then for the there is one lone N64 game that still hasn't been translated, and that game essentially is a board game. And I would like to see that get translated, because here's the thing. I've grown quite the affection for video game board games over the past, 10 years. Now I love video game board games.
Well,
I could definitely do to play a lot more of those outside of the infamous Mario Party series. I'll go
same.
them more myself, yeah.
Same.
Well, hey,
Rob, are you going to say something?
Yeah, what about the third N64 game?
Yeah, that's the board game.
Yep.
That was the one we mentioned.
Yep.
So
There's another one?
no, it's the board game.
Oh,
There's just 3 of them. There's Legend of Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, Goemon's Great Adventure, and the board game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which they say plays a lot like Concept.
Yep.
I don't know much
Makes
about
sense.
Concept, unfortunately, but
Makes sense.
I'll definitely take your word for it. I think there are 3 or 4 PS1 titles, the 3D platform one that played like GG3, although for some reason Sasuke and Yae were replaced by these 2 weird characters that no one really remembers. There was one where I found this kind of amusing, a late PS1 release where it deliberately took stage structure and music from the previous games, but that was the point, because the thing about the main villain is that he recycles everything, and his head's like a giant trash can.
Yes.
It was cute. I'm pretty sure it was run on a very tight budget, but at least they dove into it and acknowledged that. So that was nice.
And luckily, that game has been fan translated, so you can play it in English.
Yeah, I would like to check. Yeah, I need to check out the PS1 ones more as well. And as mentioned, there are some for more for the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color besides the first one. There's an RPG where you actually played as a kid for some weird reason, like the anime that they brought the characters over into the. I couldn't find much info on that one. I could find even less on another Game Boy game that I think was also for the Game Boy Color that is apparently a Pokemon clone. Mononoke Goku Tobiase. I could find extremely little on this one. I don't think Jimmy got around to covering it. There was a more straight-up action platformer on the GBC, Seikushi Dynamite's Arawaru, which I could... apparently, Jimmy said this one's actually pretty good, so I'll have to look more into it, but I don't know a lot otherwise. Also, there was a PS2 title that was also going to be more Zelda-like, and also be, I think, something of a reboot or a standalone that looked a little bit more serious. And
that was the Working Designs game. And it,
Goemon has this cute tiger assisting him and whatnot, and this one was going to be brought over by Working Designs, but... Sony said no for whatever reason, and apparently it kind of killed Working Designs as a result, which that sucks, but a lot of people seem to shit on Victor Ireland nowadays, so, maybe it was destined to happen.
I have mixed thoughts, and I feel like that could be a whole other roundtable. Working Designs.
I'll just say one thing. I love the concept of their sub-label, but I really hated the logo and the opening they put in the game. Spaz.
Not to mention that spaz is apparently a slur in England.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, and the logo looks stupid, and it's all spaz.
Yeah. The 90s, right?
Yep.
And almost done about the series. I'll shut up in a bit.
Yes.
There was also, somewhat infamously, one of the last games released on the PS1 was the edgy makeover one, where it's less like a seriously forced makeover, and apparently it's more like a new generation of Goemon heroes. Infamously, where Bisu's role is now filled by a cute, clumsy girl for some reason.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Don't like that at all.
Structurally, on the offset, I would be diametrically opposed to that, but Jimmy actually did a video of that recently, Region Unlocked, and, he said that, contentious aesthetics aside, it actually still plays pretty well. And,
I have
It's
played that
okay.
one.
It's
Oh,
alright.
Yeah, that's the PS1 game I played.
Okay.
It seemed okay.
fair enough.
Oh,
Yeah, so I hear, but I want my goofy burglar man. Get
Yeah,
this
same.
cute girl
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
There's also another one that same setting also got a GBA game, which Jimmy currently said is okay, but not as good as the PS1 one. And the final game released in the series up to this point was released, unfortunately, only in Japan in 2005 on the DS, and it has this gorgeous. It has this gorgeous, like, traditional, like, Japanese watercolor aesthetics to it. And I also don't know a heck of a lot about this one, but visually it looks really fantastic, and it is apparently pretty good. It's also sort of has like a more adventure-y structure to it, but shut up. But it's unfortunately, it is the last Goemon game that ever was released, and the series has been quiet for 2 decades afterwards as Konami sank into the decline that they did. But
But don't forget the Patchy Slot game.
Oh, God!
yeah, there were also several mobile spin-offs. There were like 2 Patchy Slot titles, but I'm not going to talk about those.
Yeah.
So what we're getting at is that there were a huge fuckload of Goemon games, and we got very little in the West, but I am at least glad we got the first SNES one and the 2 N64 ones, because those 3 are among the best of the series. So
Yes.
I'll be thankful for what we did get, and I will also be thankful that we can still play most of the other ones, official or no, because I could do more looking into the Goemon series myself, but I'm glad to have played as much as I have, and I'm glad we could talk about this underappreciated series tonight.
Same.
Speaking of which, Jay, can you tell if Omega's still streaming?
I can find out.
Okay.
Okay, I did get a little over rambly. Sorry about that.
Just a little.
No, he finished.
Okay. No stream raid then. So, that being the case, for anyone who may still be here, and I'm not sure exactly who that would be, other than maybe Sharon.
And us, of course.
Well, yeah. But, yeah, this roundtable, we were covering a fairly obscure subject in the first place, so I'm...
Yeah, I wasn't expecting much attendance, and it didn't help that our friend of the show, Snarb, was unfortunately out sick tonight, so...
Yeah.
This was probably our least attended stream, and probably the most specifically nerdy for us, but, I don't care. I'm just glad I got to talk about it. Hey there, Sharon, what's up?
Yep. And on top of that, Jay and I barely said anything.
Yeah.
In comparison to you
mostly...
two, anyway.
Yeah, fair.
Well, I mean, to be fair, even though it was my idea for the roundtable in the first place, I didn't realize how many games there actually was. I was glad to even get into some of them recently, and this was an eye opener for a lot of the other ones that I haven't tried yet, or at least tried a little, and I want to get into more. So excellent. I really appreciate doing this regardless of it all, and I'm glad that Rob, you agreed to do this despite having the best knowledge of the Goemon series, other than maybe the game Legend of the Mystical Ninja, and of course the anime a little bit, and a couple of the games that I played.
Well, it's kind of like when we did those RPG streams, and I basically sat back and let you guys talk. Unless it was about Phantasy Star, then I had to chime in.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Phantasy Star, let's go.
Yeah. So, anyway, to anyone who might be watching the video replay afterwards, I will say the next stream we're going to have will probably be on a different day than usual. We're probably going to be doing it on a Sunday. It'll be in another couple weeks, and it will be back to the Dyer's Place setting, in which Mike and I are going to do something we already said we wouldn't do, but we're doing it anyway.
Yeah, I'll just give you a hint. I absolutely did not intend the date for this when I tried to cajole Rob into this, but the fucking planets aligned, and I think we got to do it now because of a certain, let's say, tradition to uphold with the subject in question. So, look forward to it. I will say, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I hope you are too, even though I'm not saying anything about it right now.
Yeah, exactly. But, and of course, as always, my books are on sale. Please feel free to stop by, pick some up. If you want digital copies, contact me. You can reach me through the West Mansion site submissions page. And, yeah. So, I'd like to thank Kyle and Jay both for joining us tonight. Jay for inspiring us to begin with. No, you're welcome.
And thank you. I appreciate it, and always love coming to these as well. Great conversations.
Yeah, we'll definitely pick up with another video game roundtable at some point in the future. I promised Betty I wasn't going to have her do too many backgrounds. She kind of got burned out on them after a while. So,
fair.
But we do have a couple coming up. There's might even be one she may herself be sitting in on.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So, if anyone's looking forward to hearing Betty's take on whatever it is we're going to be discussing, it may very well happen sooner than you might think. Or maybe later.
Nice.
I honestly don't know at this point.
It will come by.
Exactly. So, thanks to everyone who did stop by. And hope we will see you next time we stream for Mike and I to talk about this currently under wraps subject matter. Of course, that might be a tough night because I know Eugene usually streams those nights. So, we'll see.
Yep.
All right. So, that said, everybody have a fun.
And enjoy.
Take care, everybody.
Definitely enjoy.
Cheers, everyone.